we're back. Pipe Dreams Podcast, back in Garage Ocho. Had to fly Jimmy in as a factory rider. He's gone through more tires this weekend than most people do on a MotoAmerica round. And we're only on day 2, so things are going great for him over here. Let Jimmy, the V2, the Ride HVMC Garage Ocho V2, so he could come out and feel what it's like to throw your leg over. I don't want to say a real bike again. I don't want to throw you under the bus.
Can't do that, man. Can't do that.
Still contracted, still factory. But yeah, I wanted to get it back on a sport bike, huh?
Yeah. No, it's been good, man. Just to get back on a sport bike and just kind of feel. I mean, it's been 2018 since I've rode a real sport bike race bike, like, and specifically super sport bike. So, yeah. To get back out on the track, to get out, and it's crazy is I've ridden here for like over 10 years and I've never raced here. I've only done school laps and on stock bikes, so it's taken a minute to get used to. But we're here, we're chucking tires out at shout out Pirelli, for hooking it up. Corey just absolutely killing it with the tire bill, and it's been good. So, but you're out here killing it, telling people to.
Guys are fucking loud down there.
I know. It's dude, but this is casual,
too,
baby.
You could probably back this thing up.
We're casual. No, I like it. We're casual.
Jimmy wants that thing like as close as you can get it.
Yeah, because I want people talk to me and they're like, you know what? You've got the voice.
I know. We've been getting that a lot. We actually get that this guy's got an ASMR, like relaxing voice. I'm like,
I can see it.
Me, the monotone one versus.
But yeah, no. But we did just come back from Thailand, and I just want to throw in there that we were in Thailand and I saw these shirts. So for people that don't watch it, we have these Thai shirts with like elephants and cool designs, and I picked one up and then I just haggled over the market lady to get Corey one, and I was like, we gotta wear it. We gotta wear it.
Beating up some old lady on the side of the street in Thailand over like $3.
So if you ain't watching it, you need to get in and just see the shirts because they're phenomenal. But yeah.
Otherwise, you were away for quite a while. Obviously, we just had the pod with Dan come out not too long ago, so you were home right after that, which was nice. But you actually got to go home for what? How long were you home for?
Like a week at least. Yeah.
You were just home for a week? Was it that long?
Yeah.
Took you to New York, had some good food, had some fun, and then we got back together out here at Chuck Wallace. So outside of that, just been enjoying the off season so far. You kind of get to chill now though. Nothing till January.
No, I got a commercial coming up, and then but
must be nice.
Just drops that on us.
Hey, listen, got a commercial coming up, and but other than that, and then we're hopefully bringing the Cheeks in for Christmas. That's gonna be sweet. She hasn't been in the U.S. for a while, so
nice.
Hopefully Trump Daddy can sort that out and get it a little quicker. But I'm stoked. But listen, again, to everybody, thank you for supporting the pod. It's been unreal. We've had a couple really good episodes come out. We've got an amazing guest that we're going to bring up. Before that, our sponsors, always the loyal ones, Law Tigers, America's Motorcycle Lawyers, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. If you know anybody that's been in an accident, please call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. There is no fees to the riders, and they'll sort you out. You never ride alone with Law Tigers.
Got to also give a big shout out to our friends at Yuasa Battery, the most trusted battery in power sports since 1979. For over 45 years, Yuasa has delivered power, reliability, and passion at every turn. Yuasa supplies power sports batteries to more OEMs and riders than all of our competitors combined in the U.S. and globally. And the reason is simple: premium quality.
Premium.
Unmatched reliability, long life, and advanced engineering with years of application expertise. Yuasa Battery, setting the standard for power sports batteries since 1979. Each and every day, Jimmy, starts with Yuasa.
Yeah, and I see you've got like tons of their products down in the Ocho. Everybody's on them.
Oh, we got Yuasa everywhere. We got one on the race bike and everything.
It's crazy. It's awesome. It's great to use the partners that we that help support the pod and, just put it right back down into the Ocho.
For sure. Find your battery or your local Yuasa retailer via yuasabatteries.com.
Sweet. Let's get into it. We got a great guest. This guy's an absolute ghost. You can't really find anything about him. And we also just realized how young you are. But Jayson Uribe, is that how we pronounce your last name?
Spot on.
Is it French?
It's Spanish.
Is it?
Yeah.
We're a long way off.
Wow. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Oh, shit. Can you speak fluent Spanish?
I'm not fluent, but I'm almost there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's always the scary part when you try to flex and they come back at you. And you're like,
What do you say?
Donde
What do you
está
say?
baño?
Oh god.
That's about all Jimmy knows in Spanish.
What
That's
do
all
you
he's got.
mean?
That's all you
Dude.
need.
What else you got? You got anything good?
On the bicycle, I always just say tiene nada.
Nice.
Very fair, very fair. Down here racing CVMA,
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
Yep. No, it's been a bunch of fun riding down here, man. It's always good to ride with people like you guys and to be able to push my own skills and ride a new bike that at least new to me and be able to keep developing and just learning more is a bunch of fun.
Yeah, you're riding with CW Moto, right?
Yep. CW Moto, they put together a really cool R1. It's the same bike that they've been riding in and out of the Superstock 1000 Championship in MotoAmerica. So just trying to keep progressing on that package, and yeah, it's been a bunch of fun.
Yeah, those guys they're in Washington.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
far from Seattle.
Okay,
And that's where you grew up, right?
More or less, yeah. I was born in Bellevue, which is like 20 minutes from their shop, ironically.
That's crazy.
I know.
And did you just get like a call out of nowhere, or how did that kind of come about? Because we saw them here for the last couple years, or just last year.
I think just last year with you, right? They just
Yeah.
started coming down.
Yeah, they've been around. They did some stuff down here with what's his name? Benjamin Smith.
Yep,
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
we remember that.
Yep. So they've been around for a while and doing some like Twins Cup stuff back in the teens and things like that. But yeah, it's I got a phone call from Mike Canfield, which I'm sure you guys know. Mike
Oh, yeah.
Canfield. Yeah. So he called me up and just asked what I was doing. This was in 21, at the end of 21, I believe. And I just told him I didn't really have any concrete plans. And then like a day later, Chris from CW called me up and we just kind of hit it off right off the bat. Did some stuff here and there, just little things on my own personal Honda, just seeing if we were going to be a good fit for each other. And then just kind of stayed in contact throughout the years. And we were going to ride with CW. I was going to ride with CW this year in 2024. And then the Orange Cat deal came about. So
MotoAmerica.
yeah, kind of put some stuff on hold as far as CW Moto goes. But now that my Orange Cat contract is up, I'm back with CW and we're riding, having a good time, and just kind of seeing what the future brings.
And you're ripping.
It's fun, man.
And I think let's just speak on CVMA. Like, I mean, this is arguably, if not the strongest and toughest club scene that we have seen in a very long time. Like, it brings me back to like Weir National Days and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, I haven't seen the pace, and it's deep.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm in, the whatever the middleweight class, just getting my teeth kicked in, boys. and I'm like coming down and back. I'm like, I'm fucking 10th, boy. like I haven't seen a 10th place in a while.
I think you would have qualified better in a MotoAmerica race than you would have here. You know what I mean?
I'm like, holy shit, dude. So yeah, I think it's just a testament to see. I think they said they had 192 riders or classes or what I don't know entries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so cool to see the progression and to see like you come out and Corey the King over here kind of running it down, and it's I think it's awesome for the club level scene to really just get after it and grow the way it's grown, and we've kind of seen it do that. But what's your feelings for like Chuck Walla?
Well, Chuck Walla is where I did this. So there was a long time where I didn't come down here because I was just scared, but I finally just sorted myself out, and it's been really cool, man. And like you guys were saying, it's hard to find the level of competition anywhere else but here, aside from going to a MotoAmerica race, which I think is pretty freaking cool. And the fact that they're putting up money helps bring more people in, and it's just that extra little motivation to make people go.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a lot of fun. It's also like, I don't know, it's still like chill, which
Yeah.
is cool. Like it's like serious, like it's like, pace wise serious, but everything else about it's pretty low key. So
It's a vibe, definitely, for sure.
yeah. But so it's you guys, just like the three of you more or less, right? It's what Chris
Yep.
and his wife.
Yep, Chris, Sarah, and then we got Paul with us this weekend, and a buddy of mine, Bryce, just kind of helping out.
That's cool.
It's cool.
It goes for the money, dude.
What's it like going from the BMW to the Yamaha?
I've been talking about that a lot. It's I feel like the BMW that I rode this year was a great bike, but the way I've been describing it is I rode it like a dirt bike. It's aggressive. It's all in your face all the time, and when you can ride it, you can go. But there's definitely times where it's trying to spit you off and launch you to the moon, and that's just how it was, and it is what it is. The Yamaha, I feel, is the total opposite, where I've had to kind of tone my own riding down to be a little bit more like that smooth flowing style. And sometimes I find myself getting excited, like coming out of turn 16 a few times a day. I was getting all antsy and the thing would step out really quick. So it's just trying to remind myself that I need to be smooth and just kind of let the bike flow versus the BMW where it's more just like get it in there, get it turned, and freaking pin the thing. So it's just different ways of riding, but it's fun. It's cool.
Yeah.
Does your R1 have electronic? Like, do you have TC or is it pretty low?
Yeah, so we have the YEC super stock package. It's basically it came from the stock 1000 class and then came here. So we have the YEC harness, the YEC ECU, all that stuff, and it's all. It does have electronics. It does have TC, wheelie, engine braking, modulation, all that stuff, but it's just.
Low.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
the bike's been out since what 2013 or 14,
Basically.
15, I don't know when it was, but it's been out for a few years.
Yeah.
BMW's been updating every single year for the last like 6 years.
It's been crazy.
Well, anyway, we want to get kind of into a little bit more of your history since you're kind of a ghost on the internet.
Sounds good.
We paid for a background check before the episode
Oh,
to see if
nice.
we could find anything about you. Nothing came up. So, no, but you know, obviously, I didn't realize you were so young, which is kind of crazy because you've been around for a while. James as well. We both felt kind of old actually, especially this guy because he's like 37. So.
I'm just creeping on it.
Just vibing, bro.
Dude, that you hear that? That's the door open, creeping open.
But so when did you start riding?
I started riding when I was 4 in motocross. I did motocross for a long time, and then I started getting hurt. Friends of mine started getting hurt, like bad, like paralyzed. And I kind of figured that probably it was time to try something else. So I hopped on a little NSR 50 and sucked. Got on a RS 125 and started doing better. And I rode the wheels off of that bike for like 6 years, and then just kind of slowly progressed my way up.
And when you lived in Washington, raced motocross, or you were in California by that point?
I was in California by that point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in Washington, but I didn't really spend a whole lot of time up there. Family moved down to Cali when I was probably like 2 or 3. I don't really remember.
Yeah.
And then just swung a leg over a dirt bike and said, this is pretty cool. So
It's a pretty tough place to grow up riding motocross, I would imagine. Like California in general, just like competition wise.
yeah, you get some serious riders and teams and the whole nine. I mean, it's like going to Europe and hopping on a pocket bike and then expecting to be the best. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, it was cool. I learned a lot. And right up until the reason why I stopped riding is because I had a pro circuit contract on the table.
What?
Yeah, it was either choose this path and be a Kawasaki rider for the next 10 years or don't. And it took me a little bit of time to kind of decide on that. And like I was saying, I got hurt. Friends of mine got hurt. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this for 10 years and just be broken by I'm 20.
So I was 10 years old. What bikes were you on?
I was 65s. 65, 85.
So was that like, were you in like with Mitch? Or was it Team Green?
This
stuff?
was Team Green stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. It was fun, though. It was cool.
That's
So go to
crazy.
Loretta's?
I never got the chance. That was part of the contract, was to start going to Loretta's.
So this is early days, like what?
yeah. 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere in that area.
Some math, dude.
Yeah.
Hashtag math.
It was a while ago.
Yeah. And so like, what was that like in terms of making that switch over?
I would say there's a lot of times I'm really thankful for that motocross experience, especially like going off track. I'm sure you guys have been off track a few amount of times. When you get off into the sand and stuff, definitely having some kind of experience like that helps. I think I definitely find myself favoring the rear brake too much. I did some wild cards over in World Superbike, and that was their biggest complaint about my riding is how I sucked with the rear brake. So trying to get better at that, and I think just getting used to that smooth flowing style that we were talking about. It's taken a little bit of a transition, but over time I'm trying to get better at it.
Yeah.
You think that's why, like, where your really aggressiveness came from was moto and things of that nature?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, because me and Corey were talking about it's like whether it was MotoAmerica or whatnot, you've kind of come back like really chilled. Like this year, just watching, you seeing, the second half of the season in MotoAmerica, you've like really, you still are aggressive when you pass and stuff, but like a lot more chilled riding.
I'm trying. I'm tired of getting hurt as well. Definitely kind of hit a wall where I was either always crashing or just getting hurt all the time. So I figured it's probably time for a change.
Was that what would like attributed to the decision? Obviously, you're like 10 years old, so you're not like I think I'm done rig. Obviously, your parents are a big part of that.
Yeah.
Did they have like people in road racing though that like got you going down that road or what?
So the guy that taught me how to ride a motorcycle at all in the very beginning, his name was Brian Parriott, and he actually rode for BMW for many, many years. He did Daytona, all that fun stuff. And he was the one that was like, you should probably start in motocross. And that's exactly what we did. And then through years of just being friends with that whole Parriott family, and we all kind of convened. Like I see them as a very key part of my growing up as a racer as a kid, and just being able to rely on them for friendly advice has been huge.
Mm. And then, but from there, like going from motocross to road racing, you said you got on small bikes, but was there, because you were kind of past the age of USG or POU and that kind of stuff, right? So what, I guess AFM is kind of all there was?
AFM and going to Europe. That's basically why I moved to Europe when I was 12 and did the BSB stuff, did the French Superbike, CEV, all that fun stuff. And it was because at the time there really wasn't anything for us to do. Like it was AFM or wait until you're 16 and join the AMA. So that's why I left and spent 5 years in Europe and got my ass kicked and learned a lot. So it was a bunch of fun.
It's so crazy though, because I feel like I didn't realize you were so young when you were over there. Like I knew you were always in Europe, but it was like I thought you were like similar age.
But I read that you actually lived in England with your mom. Like she flew over with you, and you guys lived in Nottingham.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there. So
yeah.
So what was that like at a young age going over to England? And were you there for the winter?
Not the full winter. So there were a few times we would like visit when we were trying to figure out what we were actually going to do in the winter time. That was the only time I was there, in like December, for example. But yeah, living over there was quite the experience. I think it really shaped who I am today. And I remember I would use my race winnings to pay for the rent, which was awesome. BSB paid out pretty well, which was pretty helpful. But if I crashed and I didn't get any race winnings, it was rough. So
that's kind of where I'm at right now with CVMA.
Yeah. It's definitely a different level of pressure, and that was the first time I'd ever really had to experience that. And honestly, I'm really glad I had that experience when I was young, because it really, by the time I was like 16, 17, living on my own in Spain, I was already kind of prepped. You know, I didn't just fall into that and fall face first. You know, I kind of had that experience already. So I'm super thankful. And I'm really lucky that I had my whole family, my mother and my father, everybody supporting me while I was over there. So I'm super, super thankful.
What classes were you running in? You were in BSB?
I was in, at the time it was called the MotoStar class. So at first I was on a little RS125. And then after that, the following year, 2014, I hopped on a Honda Moto3.
And you said that there's actually payouts? I don't remember.
Yeah, dude. If I won a race, it was like 4,000 pounds.
What?
Yeah, and if I got in the podium, it was like 3,000 for second, and then 2,500 for third.
On the little bikes.
On the little bikes.
That's insane. I don't remember any of that. When
Yeah,
I was, they must have.
Way over there, dude.
They took it away. I don't even. But I know Pash did like sort of similar.
Yeah, he did, right?
But I don't think
you guys are the same age, roughly. Or no, he's a few years younger.
Yeah,
right?
I think he's like 22 right now, 21.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I think so. I'm pretty
He's
sure.
only 22 years old.
Dude, he just started legally getting into bars like last year.
Dude, get it together. That's crazy.
What obviously you bounced around a bit though. You did a couple of years in BSB, but you went France and some other stuff. Like why didn't anything kind of just keep you in one series or the other?
I think it was just kind of following opportunities. At the end of 2014, I had made really good friends with Motul Europe, Motul France, all those people. And they were the ones that were like, hey, there's a seat in the French Superbike Championship if you want it. And I was like, sure, why not? I didn't really have anything to lose. So hopped over there in the Superstock 600 class on a Honda. And we didn't win the championship. We won a few races. We got in the podium a lot. But it was kind of like my entry-level 600 experience. And it was really good. And that kind of groomed me for going over to Spain the following year. Again, just following the opportunities that arose, and hopped on Moto2 for the first time and crashed on the outlap, which was awesome. But luckily they didn't kick me off the bike right away. And I learned a lot, had a bunch of fun, and it was cool.
So how come in the French Superstock 600, getting on the podium first time, seeing tracks, things like that, did you not go up like to 1,000, or was there no opportunities for that? Like how come you didn't stay there, or did just the opportunity of a Moto2 bike just speak too high?
I would say a little bit of both. I had the opportunity to hop on a Moto 2 originally, go basically straight from the Moto 3 in 2014 to the Moto 2 the following year, but I didn't think I was ready. I didn't think it was going to be the right decision. I just get cremated. So I decided it was probably best to hop on a 600, get some experience, especially at the time they were still using the Honda motor in the Moto 2 chassis. So just getting some time on the same bike, more or less, I thought was going to be more important, and then pursued the Moto 2 the year after.
And is that something that, because Motul helped you get to the French side, did they go with you so they were still a part of your whole deal?
Yeah, Motul was a huge part of my program up until like 2 years ago. So they've been awesome. Super thankful.
When you were over there, like were you getting over there and things were covered, or you actually like were you, at that age? Obviously, you're not like working. I know you later on you started working a lot to cover stuff.
Yeah.
But at that age, was that like were you getting deals to where it was somewhat economical, or were your parents really filling those gaps?
I would say a combination where we had a few people that were helping us out, but we didn't have, for example, one sponsor that was funding everything. It was more like my whole family is working really hard, and then we're having one or two people that are helping us buy these flights, whether it's with miles or whether it's just with having the opportunity to get like employee discounts on international flights was huge. So stuff like that, but it was definitely a team effort. I definitely couldn't do it alone.
Was that hard, like on your parents during that time to, I don't know, what did your parents do for work? Like were they having to go with you everywhere, I assume?
So my father owns an electrical contracting business. I actually am in the process of taking that over. But so that made it a little bit easier because we were the company. We managed everything. So it was a little bit easier for me to take time off, for my parents to take time off. At the same time, that responsibility comes back to us. So if something starts happening, we got to go back. That's kind of how I would make it work when I was over in Europe, especially in Spain when I was a little bit older. I was working full-time as an electrician, and then I would take a 3-month break, go to Europe, do all my stuff, come back. And that's just kind of how we made it work. But, I mean, going full circle, if something happened in the company, something bad happened, we'd have to be there. So there are definitely times I had to miss a race to go take care of something. Yeah,
you guys got back on a flight, and
yep,
that's crazy. How big is the company?
We're 6 strong right now. We're not a massive company, but we kind of figure we're happy where we are. We have a little bit of a niche market in Napa County, so we're happy with where we are.
Is electrical contracting the same as, stupid question, the same as an electrician?
Yeah, that's exactly what we are.
I wasn't sure if there was like a different.
And you said you went to school but you have some electrical engineering background, or is that all blanketed under one?
I guess you could say it's all kind of blanketed under one. To get your electrical journeyman, you have to have a basic understanding of multiple different types of engineering. So you don't need to be an expert. Like I don't have my PE, I don't have my engineering degree, but my scholarship, my apprenticeship, all of the training that I've gone through is all the same stuff that you'd go through to get your engineering degree.
Did you go that path just because your family owns a business, or did you like it?
I like it, honestly. I mean, I had a bit of a shoe-in. Definitely, I won't take that away. But after I kind of got into it, I thought this is actually pretty cool, and I make good money, so I might as well pursue it. And I got a free 5-year education, and I'm making good money as an electrician. I have constant work, so I really can't complain.
Do you get obviously like where you're at, Napa Valley is like pretty affluent area?
Yeah,
put it lightly. Do you get like a lot of connections because of you doing like electrician work and then turns into like something else, or what?
I tried. I've realized so Napa County is known for wines and things like that. Wineries don't like to spend money. They like to make money, but they don't like to spend money. So it's been a little bit hard to make the connection from electrical and get something for the racing side. But I've never stopped trying. It's just I haven't really been that successful with it.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. What was like some of the big things that you took away from being in Europe? Like what I guess what was, obviously riding wise, you can say there's a lot you learned, right? But like otherwise, because obviously you didn't have like a lot of continuity anywhere.
Yeah. Oh man, I would say on a personal level, the first time I went over to Europe and I was living alone in 2016 was definitely an eye-opening experience. Again, financial stuff. If I crashed out, I was kind of SOL. But more of the, I'm getting home from a race and there's nobody to help me do this. There's nobody helping me to do that. So just growing up quickly and being able to adapt to changing situations, I would say is a huge step that I took in 2016 that I rely on every day. And just being able to have that kind of mental stamina. Outside of that, being able to make less, do more. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
being able to take something that might not be perfect and make it the most it can be is definitely something I try and take into account anytime I hop on a bike.
So you were there, you said by yourself. Do you have your own apartment?
Yeah.
And so did you have any friends? Like, or were you just...
Nice, dude.
No, but I mean, you're making it seem like you got like, there's like nobody around you. Like, where were you at? Were you in Andorra? Were you in Barcelona?
So I was about 15 miles north of Barcelona in 2016, 2017. And I was pretty lucky. I had my race team that was like 20 minutes away.
AGR?
Yep. AGR. Nice. Yeah, they're super cool guys. And I was pretty tight with that whole crew. So we'd all go hang out and we'd all just mingle in and out of the racetrack and just, we were one big family. So I'm not trying to come off as I was alone. It's just, that was a big step for me to be able to do that and not have to have anybody, I don't want to say to rely on, but nobody else to kind of fall back on. It was more of an eye-opening experience that way, but definitely had a lot of people helping me out in the meantime.
You were 18 at that time?
17, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. What is the deal with the AGR team? Because you see, I think probably 90% of the Americans who've gone to Europe have ridden with them. Like, what's the dynamic there? So
Ansgari Nadal is the guy that now he actually runs the whole program. He runs the whole show. He's a super smart guy, super talented on a motorcycle, ex-WRC driver.
Whoa.
The guy can freaking drive. But I would say he just has a bit of a passion for introducing new talent, if that's the best way to say it. As far as he's not really picky about where you're from, who you are. If you have skill and you can ride a bike, he's going to give you an opportunity. So I was lucky enough to meet Ansgari through another friend of mine. His name was Ian Champness. He's actually a videographer, photographer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've known him for a long time. I've known that family for a long time. And he rode for AGR back in like 2014.
Yeah. I remember seeing some things about
On
it.
what?
On a pre-Moto 3 on a Moto 4.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. He went over there. He tried to do the whole deal.
Yeah. He was the only one I've ever seen had a throttle trace, 0 to 100, and he was at 116% on the throttle on the data. I was like, dude, that's crazy.
What?
Yeah, his throttle sensor was just broken, but I thought it was so cool to see it like. You know what I mean? But that's how I met Ansgari and kind of got introduced to the AGR team. And yeah, they put me on a wild card in 2015, right at the end of the year at the last CEV round. And I went out in the outlap and crashed because it was leaking oil.
Oh,
and
so it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, but it was one of those things. I came back in and I was like, I swear I did not just throw this thing down the road. But yeah, it was really cool. And I got to know them and just kind of became friends. And then having Motul in my corner helped a lot. And that kind of gave me the opportunity to ride with them full time the next 2 years. And yeah, it was a great time.
So for people that don't know, AGR, do they do like an a la carte system where like you can go and do per race deal? Or do they only, because I know a lot of Americans and a lot of people, you have to kind of commit to the whole deal. And I know they've got a few bikes underneath the tent.
Yep. I can't say about right now. I'm not sure how it is right now, but at the time that I was riding for them, it was a season commitment.
Okay.
I got lucky to have the one-off wild card. I think it was more of just a trial to see if it was going to be a good match, but it was a full commitment.
When you say commitment, that's obviously you got to bring something to the table with them. That's my understanding of it. That's what I'm asking. So I don't really know.
You gotta bring X amount of six-figure number.
Is it pretty big?
Compared to some of the other offers I've seen, no. But definitely at the time, it was a bit of a shell shock moment. But it was an opportunity that I didn't want to let pass me by, so I leveraged every asset that I could, and we made it work. But the nice thing with AGR is it was, like you were saying earlier about travel and everything, it was fully inclusive. So obviously I had to cover my own living expenses, but for me to get to the races, for me to ride the bike, crash damage, fuel, tires, all that stuff, that was all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You don't really see deals like that.
Exactly,
Normally
yeah.
it's like, hey, it's X 100,000s.
You got to pay for every
And
bolt.
then, yeah. You
That's
didn't
pretty
like
cool.
lunch. Here you go. There's a bill.
Yeah. No, I'm
That
super lucky.
That sounds like a really cool deal.
Yeah.
Now, like Spain itself, what was it like training, eating? Like, not your first time out of the country, but now you're in a different country, not England. Obviously, people don't normally speak English. They're Spanish. You seem like you did you understand Spanish at the time, or did you have to learn it?
Definitely had to learn it. I've had a little bit of Spanish background, but definitely never had to really use it. So that was a little bit of a learning curve. But I would say that the biggest thing, training in Europe was easy. And especially anything motorcycle related. Like you could find a dirt bike track in the middle of town, and like nobody would care if you're just ripping wheelies down the street. You know, it was so easy to find a place to ride, and a bike to ride was never hard. I would say the biggest thing was finding the right people to ride with. And obviously that might sound stupid, but if you go ride with somebody that's doing 25 seconds a lap slower than you are, it's kind of hard to get that quality training in. So being able to find people that, even if, because I wasn't fast, finding other people that might be close to me and being able to push each other was huge. I was pretty lucky as far as my brother is a very talented motorcycle rider. So him and I would go, he would come visit me, I'd go visit him, and we would go ride together, whether it was in Spain, whether it was in here or France or wherever. And being able to train with him was really cool. But I think learning Spanish was a bit easier because it was mostly motorsports related. Like when I lived in, just north of Barcelona, if I ever went into Barcelona, I was a bit lost.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I got so good at the track lingo and just being able to use numbers, anything related to the motorcycle parts like that. But when I really got immersed into it, I was kind of lost. So,
Wow.
So you're having to talk to the team in Spanish?
mostly.
No
Yeah.
way.
My biggest thing was like I wanted to be able to have an interview in front of a camera in Spanish.
Did you?
Yes, but I would just sit at home and like look at the ceiling and rehearse a paragraph in Spanish.
¿Dónde está la
Oh, so you would
biblioteca?
just,
Yeah.
so you just,
Yeah.
So you know, like, hey, I had a shitty race. Like, hey, Belichick's out there, like, hot route, hot route.
Oh yeah.
The team itself has had quite a few. Like Joe Roberts was also over there, kind of similar time as you.
Yeah, he was my teammate.
He was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was there when I got this chopped off.
I thought you said you did it here.
I did, but I had it still like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
It was pinned
Thanks, buddy.
straight forever, and I finally just got it chopped off.
It just wasn't healing.
Yeah, it just never took.
Fuck.
so it's just you were just walking around like you just do this, and it would be
All the time. I had pins sticking out of it and everything. It was pretty cool.
That's gross.
Yeah,
dude.
it's a good
so
time.
It just
gross.
never like what?
So I got a bone graft from my hip into my finger, and for some reason it just never took. My body just basically ate it away until it was nothing, and then I actually ended up smacking my finger on the side of a table, and it broke. I was like, oh man, I gotta go get this fixed. And so I went back to my doctor, and he's like, yeah, dude, it's gone. Like there's no point.
There's no hope.
Yeah.
Needless to say, you're not starting with your middle finger on the grid anymore.
Exactly. My biggest thing is like in motocross, because I used to do like brake clutch, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So now I'm indexes.
Is that how you start too? How do you start on the grid? 4? Or
Yeah.
three fingers?
On the BMW, I could do like these two, but on the Yamaha, the clutch is pretty hard, so I got to do all 4.
Dude, I could not do that.
And Spider-Man thing, yeah.
I gotta know.
What was that? Oh yeah.
Not going there.
Oh, dude, he's a meme now, dude. Oh, I got one. I got a nub too.
Oh man, what happened there?
Silverstone, baby, first Superbike race in
Ooh.
BSB.
Yeah.
Qualified on 7th, lost a tire about 4 laps in, and said, "I got to keep fucking going." I'm in front of Haslam and Hopper, dude. I gotta go.
Yeah, no TC. no
Wadded,
nothing,
dude.
too, yeah.
Just
Damn,
tuck the front.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Did you not have any opportunity in like BSB? I think notoriously has been pretty welcoming to Americans.
Yeah.
Did you not really have anything else like opportunity wise there?
Honestly, I got a bit priced out of BSB. I had the opportunity with Motul to go over to France, and some of the, I don't know if bills is the right way to say it, but just some of the prices that teams wanted to ride for them was pretty astronomical, and it just wasn't, it didn't make sense. It was either I could bankrupt myself and stay in Europe on a 10th place 600, or go have a chance at a championship in France.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy because like when I was there, I thought the super sport prices were actually pretty, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
They weren't too bad for
Yeah.
to race. Like there's quite a bit of racing.
There is, 200,000 pounds is a fair amount of money.
No way. That's the
Yeah.
numbers they were telling you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I mean, I was also just some random American from California, so I wasn't James Rispoli.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough with those little bike classes. Like I don't think a lot of guys get opportunities to kind of move up. It seems like
Yeah.
I don't know, like Pash, I guess got the Dynavolt deal, but he probably paid for that, right? When he did that,
Somebody did.
Beasley.
There's somebody
yeah.
did,
yeah.
But I mean, it seems like when he won the championship in the little bike class, it seems like you went over, but you went straight to Super Sport and had a,
You
the
good.
whole time you were there, you did well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, but I also came off. I won the championship
Here,
here.
Yeah.
So there was, and Monster, but that was a weird deal in itself. Like, it wasn't like because I was a champion.
Yeah.
I just fell and met Keith Flint at Le Mans, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come ride my bike?" We did it, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna sign you next year." Like,
Nice.
and that was kind of like I mean, there's more to the story, but Jordan shut down. I went over there on a jolly, met him, and he's like, "I like you. You want to ride my bike?"
There
I
you
went
go.
back over there, and boom, like, it was crazy. So, and, like, without Keith, I would not have a British Superbike or Superbike career at all. You know, because he was so famous. He also like I wasn't on a little team. It was just eyeballs. So like it's so
yeah, it
That's
helps.
pretty sick.
CEV as a whole is obviously super stiff competition wise. You finished 11th. Was that your best year over there? Or you did 11th 2 years in a row.
Yeah, my best finish I think was like 6th or 7th, but as far as the championship goes, I crashed a lot, dude. That was when I was going through it as far as just riding styles and being able to figure out how to ride the Moto2. I didn't finish probably a quarter of the races, so it definitely didn't help with my championship standings, but yeah, it was super tough competition. I was pretty lucky. The first year I was over there, I had Steven Odendahl as my teammate, and he actually won the championship in 2016. He was a super cool guy, super cool family, everybody, his wife, everybody is super cool. And then the next year I had Joe. Joe Roberts is a good friend of mine. He definitely helped push me to be better than I was. It was a little bit hard for me to learn from Joe from a data standpoint, just because we ride so different. Steven and I were pretty similar, where there were things that I could look at on paper and be like, oh, I can just stay on the gas longer here or brake harder here. But when I was watching Joe, look, at least on his data, we were like doing things totally opposite of each other. And somehow he just made it work. And obviously he's super fast, so it works. It was just one of those things that was a bit tough for me to learn. But
In what way?
So brake pressure is a good one. So brake pressure between Steven and I would look kind of like a shark fin, where you'd go, you build up pretty quick and then you start kind of trailing off. Looking at Joe's data was much more of like a wall. Like he's on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes, off. And it worked. Obviously, he was super fast. I think he got second in the championship that year. I don't remember exactly where he finished, but he was fast. He was definitely up there. But me trying to match that brake pressure, I could never make myself do it. So it was a bit hard for us to kind of compare between each other, but it was a bunch of fun. It was cool.
Was it hard having another American, like you're kind of like fighting for a spot as the American guy? Was there like that kind of dynamic at all? Because obviously I assume you're hoping that would turn into something else.
Yeah.
Eyeballs wise.
I think it was actually pretty cool. It was cool to have an American over there because there weren't a whole lot of Americans at all. I mean, there was probably 2 or 3 of us in the entire championship between Moto3 and all that stuff. So it was cool to have somebody else that I was familiar with that I could kind of bounce off of. As far as the team dynamic, I think we just had a little bit different expectations, where Joe came from doing very, very well in the Supersport championship here in America, and there was some high expectations on his shoulders, and he performed and he delivered. As where me, it was more of the 2016 was my trial, trying to come off of the stock 600 and being able to get up to speed in the Moto2, and then 2017 was kind of my year to actually show what I could do. 2017 is a year that I look back on personally, and I'm not super proud of, I guess I would say. Like, that was a shot that I had that I missed, and it's something that I have to deal with, and it is what it is. I learned from it, and I move forward. So.
What does that mean? Like results, or you just did you fuck off, or
it took me too long to learn how to ride the bike. That I just kept crashing, man. I was so stuck in one route, I guess. Like I was so stuck in riding the bike one way, and I just kept crashing and not changing anything to fix it. And by the time I finally did, I was either hurt or it was the end of the year. So it just took me a bit too long to get on the bandwagon there, and I don't have any regrets. I learned a lot, but it was definitely one of those opportunities that I could have taken advantage of more.
I mean, you're pretty young in that scenario, and like you're by yourself. Like who you're bouncing it off. Like, I mean, and it's all Spanish team, and I mean, you say you understand things like in the language, but I mean, it's pretty tough at that age to be able to, sit here and
Yeah.
talk like you sound like you're a 30-year-old. Like the way you're talking, like you did this when you were in 20s, and you're so young in there. So like how that must have been tough to even get out like from that wall and go, how do you change? Like I don't know how any kid really would be able to change, adapt and go, oh no, I have to change myself.
Dude, I had some really good teachers. I'm super lucky. Like Anscari again is a super good person and all around. He's a good business owner, good AGR representative, and just a good person. He helped me out a lot as far as being able to show me different ways of riding, whether it's on motocross tracks. Friggin' watching him drive a car is incredible, and some of the stuff that he's able to kind of translate over to motorcycles is pretty cool as well. So had some good teachers, had some good mentors, and that's kind of how I look back on those times. And granted, the racing might have not been perfect, but the people I met and the lessons I learned, I could never trade for.
Did you grow up under like anyone's I don't know, like pedigree, if you will? Like we could grow up, Jason Pridmore obviously was like our guy.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone like that in America or over there?
I would say it was like YCRS. I was a YCRS diehard, Nick Einach, Ken Hill, all those guys. That's pretty much how I rode up until 2017. And I'm not saying that's wrong at all. It was just one of those things where I kept riding one way and I kept crashing just because of the scenario that I was in, the bike I was on, the tires, the conditions, yada, yada, yada. Nothing to do with the riding style being wrong. It was just not what I needed at the time. So it took me a while to make that switch. And as soon as I did, I started doing better, not crashing so much, not getting hurt. But that was the end of my contract.
Yeah,
so.
too late.
And what's the biggest thing that you think was the change? Was it, you said, just being smoother or slowing down? Like,
I would say keeping my body more centralized. I look at photos from when I was really young to now. Definitely, my body is much more in line with a motorcycle. Might not be, crossed up or anything, but I keep my body more central, and I try and have a little bit in reserve, I guess, especially on the bigger bikes, on the thousands, when you have to kind of push the bike up off the edge. Same thing with you on the bagger. You have to get that bike up off the edge of the tire. So instead of already being like all the way over on one side, having that extra little bit is definitely a big change that I've had.
Yeah, I think I saw that like when you went by me a couple days ago. Definitely all the way until you got to your apex, and then you got your. That's interesting that you say that, because that's weirdly enough, like I have a snapshot of it when you came by. I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting the way you ride.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's dirt bikes as well, just from riding different motorcycles and working with American Super Camp. Danny Walker, I guess, is another good one that I grew up riding with. He kind of coached me how to ride dirt bikes fast, flat track bikes, and all that stuff kind of translates to road racing. But having a little bit more of a centralized stance, so to say, having that body weight a bit more central, and then just dropping when you need to is probably another good one.
Did you find it hard not having anyone over there with you in that sense? Like from a like, obviously none of those guys that were from the champ school or wherever were coming to Europe with you. Were you like bouncing stuff off of them or anyone at the time? Was it a team? Did the team have a rider coach?
We didn't have a rider coach. We had a really good data engineer, really good data engineer that knew his stuff and worked on world championship teams. So it was good from a point of, this is exactly what the bike is capable of. It's just, we need to get you there. So there was a lot of phone calls back and forth between me and Ken Hill, between the YCRS guys and me and Danny, just being able to look at GoPro video and try and figure out what's going on. But I think at the end of the day, it was a mental switch that I had to make. It wasn't really something that it was a technique that they could fix. It was just a different way I had to ride.
Did you ever have like pressure from your parents and stuff, considering obviously the amount of investment and, whether or not it was coming out of their pocket, but it was a group effort, right?
It was a group effort for sure. And I'm super lucky, super thankful. And I don't think I ever had any, I never had a moment where I was not wanting to get on the bike because there was so much pressure on my shoulders. And I'm super thankful for that. And I know that's definitely not the case for a lot of people, but I think it was more of me putting pressure on myself, which I think is pretty standard for any kind of athlete, any kind of racer. You want to do well, you want to be the best out there, and when it doesn't happen, it sucks, and that you get mad. So being able to use that as motivation has been a huge game changer for me. And again, just bringing up finances stuff, it might sound stupid, but like crashing and not being able to afford rent sucks. So trying to find money to pay for rent sucks. So trying to make sure that I was able to stay on myself from a responsibility standpoint, being able to finish races and go fast was huge.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Because you couldn't work over there, right? Or did you? Yeah. So you had to blend that line.
Yeah, you kind
Some
of
under the table stuff.
a little bit.
What would you kind of do over there?
So there was it's called Beyond. They actually have a Moto3 coming out pretty quick, but they're like a manufacturer for some of the smaller bikes, some of the smaller GP bikes. But they had a chassis development shop that was just down the road from where I lived. So they would just hire racers, just anybody that really wanted money and wanted time, and we'd go over to their shop and we'd help develop chassis stuff. And some of the shit they had us doing was so weird, man. Dude, they had us tie like 5-gallon water drums to a corner of the chassis, and then we'd like swing it across the room, and they'd measure how much something deflected. It was pretty wicked. It was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
That is
Yeah.
cool though.
Yeah.
So you were doing that at like 17 years old.
Yeah, just trying to
Swell.
cover.
Did you
my-
always have like a mechanical engineering, like that kind of like mindset? 'Cause it sounds like a lot of things, obviously your electrician
Yeah.
thing, but
I've
did you-
always liked puzzles. And I guess that's kind of where it all comes from, because electrical especially is just one big puzzle. You know, you're putting pieces together, and at the end of the day, the light bulb turns on or doesn't, and you got to figure out why. So I think as far as engineering stuff, I'm not a huge fan of like the diodes and resistance and trying to make sure everything works from a electrical flow standpoint, I guess. But being able to put the pieces together and figure out why something works mechanically and being able to solve problems, I think is huge.
what do you think like that applies to? Did you ever struggle with the mechanics of actually riding a bike in terms of being too like analytical? Like I know literally you could hand me something and I couldn't tell you how to adjust a thing on the bike.
That's okay.
I think me and James, like, the furthest we get is when we go to the Supermoto track.
Oh yeah.
James is like, got out a few clicks here.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
No
dude.
clue what we're clicking, but we're
No.
clicking.
It's good, man. It's good, dude. I think
Give
I'm
it the
gonna.
old push.
I think I'm gonna drop tire pressure.
Yeah. I think it's actually been really cool. It's nice to actually have an idea, especially if something's going wrong. Like today, we were having some issues with not the fuel pump, but just fueling in general. I was just running wicked fat, and like I came in off of the first race of the day I had, and number one cylinder, the spark plug was literally dripping in fuel. So just trying to be able to diagnose some of that stuff while I'm riding and figure out, okay, this is what I think it is. I could be way wrong, but at least I can have somewhat of an idea that I can bring back to the team or bring back to whoever, even if it's just myself. But being able to recognize things when they're going wrong, I think has been a huge part of that knowledge. And it's cool being able to set up somewhat of a package. You know, I'm not a professional with suspension. I'm not a professional mechanic or anything like that, but being able to work on my own bike and trust that it's going to be rideable and safe is nice.
So do you like looking at data and digging through all that stuff yourself, or do you like to kind of leave it? Like when you come in and you want changes, are you leading the horse to water, or are you going, hey, these are the problems, sort it out for me? Like,
I would say it's a little bit of both. There's definitely a time and a place where if I have something that I'm really struggling with, like for example, if I'm riding and I'm going through turn 6 or whatever, and man, I just suck there, I want to figure out why. So that's when I'll really dive into the data. Aside from that, I'm not one that spends hours looking at computers. I've never been one to just kind of sit there and stew on one thing, if that makes sense. I try my best to come back with a sheet of information in my mind, and I'll say these are the things that the bike does really good, these are the things I want it to do better, this is where I can improve, yada yada yada. And I'll kind of set that parameter, and we'll have a debrief, we'll talk about things, we'll all look at things, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be, nose in a computer for 4 hours.
yeah, I think that's going to lead us right into our Law Tigers tech tip. 1-800-LAW Tigers. They've been with us forever, and so America's motorcycle lawyers. If you know somebody that's been in an accident, please call 1-800-LAW Tigers. We do a tech tip here. Jayson, for people, what do you think you would do give them a tip, technical tip, riding tip, because you do a lot of coaching? You got anything for us?
Oh man, I would say the best riders, you don't have any special sauce. There's no secret sock that you put on in the morning or eating a yam before you go to bed. It's you know what I'm talking about? It's perfect execution of fundamentals under stress. So getting really, really good at the basics and knowing when to apply and where I would say is huge as far as being able to ride fast.
That's really good. That's a good
I
one.
feel like I just listened to Goggins.
I know. All right, man, dude. Hey, this guy over here, no secret sauce. My guy was eating beets yesterday.
Literally eating beets.
Dude, antioxidants.
That was lunch though.
Yeah.
It wasn't before bed.
That's our Law Tigers tech. Law Tigers tech tip. 1-800 Law Tigers. Big love.
Yes. If you
All
know
right.
someone ever injured in a motorcycle accident, just call Law Tigers.
They're gonna sort you out at no charge to you.
Get back into it. You good? You need anything?
Jay chilling.
Are you
Cool.
vibing hard?
Dude, I'm so lost in the sauce right now.
I love it, dude.
So obviously Europe didn't continue on from that point. That was kind of the end of the road as far as that goes. But what was the reason behind that?
I would say there's a few different reasons. Big one was finances. Just the way that racing and CEV was kind of pushing was just getting more and more expensive, and it wasn't something that I was feeling was worth it at the time. There was some other directions I wanted to go with my life, and decided to take a bit of a break from racing. So 2018, 2019, I did some more local, club racing, FM stuff. I did a couple wild cards in MotoAmerica here and there, but my biggest thing was school. 2017, I started my 5-year apprenticeship. So I was kind of off and on between when I was racing in Europe and then coming back and doing my school stuff. And then after I got back full time, 2018 was my chance to finish all that stuff. So I just try to get everything done as soon as I can. And then, 2021 came back to race somewhat full time in the Superbike Championship with ADR and had a good time. I didn't finish as well as I wanted to, but there's nobody else's fault. It was just, I don't think the circumstances were right at the time. And kind of same thing, 2022 took a bit of a break. 2023 started coming back. And then this year got a chance to ride on the BMW. And yeah, here we are.
But so when you took the break and came back and things didn't go well, do you think having that time off, you kind of have to relearn? Like you came off Europe, right? Yep. You did some stuff. You did a little bit of riding, but you know when you're not like at the
peak.
Well, it's like if you're not, week in, week out, like on the limit, it's hard to walk in somewhere. I mean, it's like even here, like if everyone's riding so fast, it's so hard. You got to build and build. It's like blocks. Mm-hmm. So like, do you think that's, the not having the building blocks to be able to go season, it was, part of the tough breaks or?
Probably. I would definitely think it didn't help not being on a bike full time, so to say. And there's been pros and cons. I mean, in the time that I haven't been on a motorcycle, I was able to finish my schooling. I started my business. I got serious in other aspects of my life. I joined the fire department. But it's also made me appreciate racing so much more. And now that I've had this opportunity this year to be on a bike all the time, and I've been lucky enough for the past 6 months, I've been on a motorcycle almost every week. Maybe not racing, but testing, developing, whatever it's been. I've been on a bike a lot, so it's been really cool to have some of that experience and be able to continuously use these skills and learn new ones and be able to actually execute on it. It's been really cool.
I think we see that. Like, it's been a really common theme of people like Hayden Gillum, a lot of us, we've had like these weird breaks where I don't know if you're saying burnout, but things just don't quite add up. You take a small break and you come back and it's like, wow, I enjoy this a lot different. And like you say, you take it not for granted, but you just take it more. I don't know. You appreciate it, and maybe the dream itself of like, I don't know, being Mark Marquez is gone, but you're like, I could still do really well here and whatnot. And I think that's quite interesting. That's that kind of theme. That's
no, I think that's exactly what it is. Like once you lose the pressure of feeling like you're like meant to be something much bigger, you kind of just accept like anything that you can take, you get kind of deal. Like I think that makes it a lot just enjoyable, I would imagine, right? Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me when I didn't race for a little bit. Just coming back, just like every weekend feels like it's like, well, the alternative is to not do this. Exactly. So this is better than not. At least when it's a good weekend. The bad weekends still aren't as much fun. But now, like growing up, obviously racing motocross so much and whatnot, that the typical standard for that is homeschooling and stuff. Did you do that or what?
I did a traditional like K through 8, and then I got into high school. I did my freshman year, but I wasn't quite able to finish on that path, and it was mostly just because I was racing over in Europe at the time and trying to work with my school. And granted, they tried their best, but it wasn't happening. So I did my homeschooling program, and I went through 3 total. So I had 2 homeschooling programs that I tried. It just didn't work, and it was mostly based off of scheduling, because it was still just like going to normal school. Like, it was on my own on my computer, but I still had a 7 to 3 class day.
Oh wow.
I know it was not the greatest, and I finally stumbled on a program that was from Missouri, from a zoo, that was basically like, here is all of your 3 years of high school. Congratulations.
Finish it when you want.
Exactly, yeah. So that was really nice, and I was able to finish pretty much sophomore and junior year in 1 year, and then I did my California exit exam and got my diploma and called it that.
That's sick. So you probably graduated earlier than most kids
Yeah.
in that case.
Yeah.
That's cool. Was there any like discussion on your parents' side of things as far as like requirements around that, or did you just have like personal?
I wanted to finish high school, and I think it was important for my parents to finish high school, at least have that diploma to use, even if it just sits on a shelf for a while. Like, it's as long as it's there, it's there. And then as far as college goes, I did some of the college stuff here and there, but I just never, again, it was just scheduled, dude. I have nothing against it. I think it's great. It's cool. It's fun and all, but I couldn't stand waiting, dude. I think that's my big problem, especially on the racetrack. If I get stuck behind someone from one of the 2 corners, I'm just like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? So being able to,
no, I could tell.
yeah, being able to work on some of that stuff on my own time has been huge.
Do you regret, or not? Regret maybe is the wrong word, but do you have friends from growing up and like whatnot? Did you have like obviously being in Europe for like your high school years,
Yeah.
you're not doing homecoming and like all the partying and
Yeah.
football games and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish in hindsight that you'd been able to experience that stuff? And do you have friends from where you're at?
Yeah, I would say it's hard nowadays because everybody's just scattered. But definitely the freshman class that I was in high school, we're all still pretty tight. And I was so butthurt when I went back. I went to my class's graduation, and they wouldn't give me one of their senior jackets, and I was like, man, dude, I was so bummed. But yeah, I mean, I look back, and I honestly wouldn't change it. Just knowing my personality type now, I think I would have struggled with the same stuff that I did at the time I do now, regardless of if I was racing or not. So I'm thankful. I think I made the right choice for me, and at the time, it was definitely the way I had to go.
Did you play any other sports or anything growing up? Like,
Played soccer.
I was gonna
Okay.
say I could
Yeah.
say you being a soccer guy.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
played
why.
soccer.
I could
yeah.
just see the athletic build. You got Garmin watch in there.
Dude, I try, yeah.
Yeah.
I played baseball for a while. It absolutely sucked, man.
What?
Dude, I sucked at baseball.
What? Why?
I just couldn't freaking hit the ball, man.
Wow.
I could run. I would run all day. Just point me in the direction I'd run. But as soon as I had to swing a bat, it just wasn't happening.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You ever play baseball?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, really?
No, you
Dude.
didn't, dude.
Dude, Babe Ruth, man. Dude, just hit a homie, dude. Are you kidding
You're
me?
a hockey guy, no?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, hockey.
Wrestling?
Wrestler.
You were a
Yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah, fireman's carry.
I feel like
Yeah,
every
there you
flat
go.
tracker was a wrestler. I don't
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah, I
makes sense.
wasn't as good like Wellesley. Like, dude, that guy would just throw you on the ground.
D1.
Yeah, dude, D1 scholar.
It's the shies. I already signed up for the UFC actually pretty soon. Do you know Ryan Wells?
A little bit. I don't know him very well.
Yeah. If
yeah.
you know him
Where-
a little bit, you
where
know him
did
well.
How do you know him?
Danny Walker. Super
Oh,
camp.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
He
Yeah.
is a legend.
Off track.
Shout out Wellesley, baby.
What was the dynamic with your parents in terms of did you have were they just generally supportive, or did you have moto dad, moto parent kind of deal at all? Was there any of that growing up in motocross and then again into road racing?
I'm a lot of my family comes from the motorsports industry, whether it's from motocross, street bikes, whatever. A lot of people, both on my mother's and my father's side, have all just been around motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
So I was pretty lucky. As soon as I got the bug, like, I want to ride, everybody was like, all right, that's cool. Like, let's go. So I know that's not the same for a lot of people, but I lucked out there. And then I think motocross, especially when I was a kiddo, didn't really seem like a big deal. And then as we started getting faster, started doing better, started becoming a big deal. So that kind of became my life. And a lot of the other, stuff that you do growing up, like, oh, I want to do karate and I want to do baseball. I want to do this and that. And then it quickly became you can either do this or you can ride your dirt bike. And then as soon as I started choosing the dirt bike more and more and more, I started realizing that this is probably the way that it's going to end up being. So it was one of those things where I was super lucky to have the support and super thankful, but it was also good to have that positive pressure of like, this is what you want to do. This is the path. This is what you have to do. And yeah, I mean, it worked.
Have you always had this drive? Like I think that dancing around it a little bit here, but it seems like everything I'm hearing is you got like some pretty incredible drive. Like very young to go over, very young to be in Spain by yourself. I know what it's like to be in Europe, 6 hours ahead.
Yeah,
you can't call anybody. You're on track in the morning. If you suck, you suck until 5 a.m. where pops or whoever wakes up. I mean, you gotta have some drive. You gotta have some mental strength. Where is that always been in there with you, or have you developed that?
I would say it's definitely something I've been taught. I'd like to say I was a super motivated kiddo. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but I'd like to say it. But definitely after I joined the fire department, that was a huge push for me to be like, okay, life could be gone tomorrow. Especially after I've seen that multiple times, it definitely gives me a better appreciation of, okay, let's take advantage of today. So I really try and take that into everything I do. And that was back in 2019. So everything since then, I've just kind of been trying to push as hard as I can and make it work.
Yeah, I remember seeing some crazy pictures of you fighting fires.
Yeah.
I believe I saw that. So like, what?
That's what firefighters do.
No, but they posted a picture, one of the gnarly Cali ones.
Oh, yeah.
But like, so like, what, dude? Tell me, is there a shot?
Hey, I saw some Instagram pictures of you installing some electric in some house. Like,
oh, nice, cool, yeah.
Dude, shut up, man. Dude, he's during the gnarly fires. He was like,
no, I did see them too. They were sick shots.
But what kind of firefighting do you do? Like, are you in the woods? Are you just any sort of regular firefighter that just go into any house? Like, is there different? Like, some people say you're like some airborne fucking Goggins.
I don't do that. That'd be
Okay.
so sick. That'd be so freaking cool.
I've been telling everybody you're like the Delta firefighters.
That'd be cool. Yeah, so I work with Napa County Fire Department. So being a county fire department, we go to everything, whether it's vegetation fires, structure fires, car crashes, medicals, whatever it might be. If it's in our county response area, we're going to it. You have city firefighters, metro firefighters, whatever you want to call it. They're much more situated towards whatever is happening in their city. You don't usually get like wildland fires in a city. It's a lot of structure fires, a lot of medicals, a lot of car crashes. And then you get people like Cal Fire in California, Cal Fire, or you can get just other private forestry companies and stuff like that, CDL, all that fun stuff. And they're much more oriented towards forestry. So they are the wildland specialists. They're the hand crews. They're the people, the smoke jumpers, all those. Those guys are gnarly.
Smoke jumpers is what it's called.
Yeah. Those guys and gals are freaking gnarly, next level. But I work in Napa County, so we go to everything.
So, but like when you go home, are you just on call kind of thing? Like when there's a car accident, you're showing up, or is it just when there's wildfires?
I have my pager on me 24/7. Basically,
Still?
Not right now.
Oh.
when I'm at home.
Okay.
But when it goes off, Amber, my fiance, would usually give me a bunch of shit, and then I would get on the way and see what's going on and go from there.
So it's very similar to being like a town firefighter. It's just you're covering a bigger area.
Yep.
So did you volunteer when the Cali fires? What pictures am I talking about?
So 2020, the area that I'm in, the LNU complex, or just the Napa County area, had two big fires. We had the LNU lightning complex fire, and then we had the glass fire. And they were about 2 months apart. They're pretty back to back. So I basically came from the lightning fire to the ridge to do a wild card in 2020, went from the ridge right back into another fire as soon as I got home. Maybe not as soon as I got home, but within a few weeks of me being home. And those were pretty devastating. Those were what the photos were from. And it was, there have been a handful of times in my life that I've been in situations that you think about and you're like, this is really bad. And two of them were in both of those fires, but it's really shaped who I am as an individual, and it's opened my eyes to a bunch of new things. I've met really good people. I've met some good teachers, and I try my best to take advantage of all those lessons and use them elsewhere.
How long did you fight the fires for?
I was on the lightning for just under 2 weeks. I think it was like 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And then the glass was pretty short. I was only on the glass fire for like 4 or 5 days.
Like 24/7 though.
Yeah.
Like you're just with like a hose? Like how does that
Yeah,
work?
like,
Yeah.
we're dumb. It's like, come on.
No, you're good. So
Walk us through this.
The first 24 to 48 hours of any significant fire are gnarly. Like as long as you can just get through those 2 days, you're good. After that, things start to kind of settle down. Usually you kind of get an understanding of where the fire is going, what your job is, what your teammates' jobs are, and all that fun stuff. So usually after the first 2 days, you kind of get the chance to, you know what I mean? But those first 2 days are pretty gnarly. We call them the initial attack phase. It's not usually 2 days, but that's how long the lightning was 2 days of initial attack where you're constantly fighting fire, making rescues, all that stuff. So,
What is that actually like when like fighting? Obviously, you can imagine like just spraying water out of a fire truck, but like that's not what it is, obviously. So what is it actually?
so I would say it really depends on the scenario that you're in, the conditions you're in, where you're at, all that fun stuff. But in general, it's between digging line around a fire, trying to create some kind of a perimeter, spraying water on your fire truck, trying to put out fire that's in front of you, structure protection, trying to protect as many structures from burning as possible. The big one in the lightning complex especially was rescues. Not so much medical rescues where it wasn't so much someone was hurt and couldn't leave. It was, oh my goodness, the fire is now burning all around my house. I can't drive my car out. So being able to take the fire truck that's a little bit more sturdy towards those things and go get them and get them back out was a big one. Yeah.
What's like the gnarliest kind of situation? Have you been in a spot where you've been like, this is maybe
Bad.
not great?
Yeah. I'd say the gnarliest one, we were doing a rescue and we went up this super long driveway, got the person, we're going back down the driveway and we blew a radiator hose on our fire truck. And so we're stuck in the middle of the road. We're trying to pour water from water bottles into the radiator to get it just to fill back up again. And the fire was creeping up on us and starting to surround the truck. And we were all sitting there kind of not helpless, but getting everything back together. And you're just looking out the window and there's just 30-foot flames. You're like, this is not
So
great.
crazy.
And like, you can't run, right?
No,
Okay.
no, you're better off to stay in the truck. But yeah, it was,
And the truck doesn't have water.
it does have water, but at some point it's not going to do much of anything.
And for like, so how, if those types of fire, you just like, I mean, you can't just, you're not just putting out fire because it's too hot, right? You're just kind of maintaining or.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of times when you get those big fires, you're trying to guide it into a corner, so to say, where you're not just like waiting for it to come to you and then putting it out and it's out. It's more of we're creating diversions. We're creating a path, a channel. So the fire will actually back in on itself and it'll just burn on itself. And eventually it'll just
Burn out kind of
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Is that like a volunteer thing though, or is that an actual job?
A little bit of both. So I like to say we're voluntold. Basically, anytime that I'm home, I try and be on call. Sometimes it's a bit hard. Like if I'm traveling, the last few months I've been traveling a lot, going back and forth between here in Ohio and New York and all that fun stuff. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to spend at the fire department. But whenever I do, I try and make sure I'm there.
No, but as far as it being
Paid.
I paid, I guess
We
you
get
know,
paid.
I know you get benefits, but you actually get paid.
Yeah.
Is it like,
It's not great.
but only when you're there kind of thing,
Yeah.
or is it?
Yeah, I'm not salary. I'm basically an hourly employee for Napa County.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious how that works. Like my little brother is a volunteer at home,
Oh, nice.
which is actually crazy because we just had wildfires in New York.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Just like
I
you know,
heard.
right
yeah,
in our
yeah,
area.
That's crazy.
It was he was working on them, and it was just like, obviously like anything in New York, it's like vice versa. Like we get snow, and then you go down south, people get snow. It's like the end of the world. We were getting wildfires, and it was like you thought it was like the apocalypse. and
yeah.
the scale of them based on what you see
Yeah.
in California, obviously it was like tiny,
Yeah,
but
it's
it was still crazy to see.
Yeah.
Like he was sending us pictures every day. It only lasted, I think, like a just under a week, but
still a good fire.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
still for New York especially, because I don't think they're really prepared for that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of do some other stuff too. Like we talked about you do some investigational work where you're an expert witness and you assess motorcycle accidents specifically.
Yeah. So basically, my job is, unfortunately, it's kind of morbid because it usually involves a fatality or a serious injury. But at the end of the day, my job is to go to, whether it's the scene of an accident, whether it's just photos, evidence, whatever it might be, is to figure out exactly what happened and why. So, for example, a case I was on a while ago was there was an individual in an R6 that ended up hitting the side of a semi truck, and unfortunately, the person passed away. And my job being brought into that was to figure out how fast was the R6 going, why was it going that speed, why didn't he stop, and why did the collision happen in the first place. So being able to take all of those factors, look at camera feeds, skid marks, doing my own testing. Actually, while I was out here for a CVMA round last year, I rented an R6 and went out to the airstrip and did like 50 passes trying to figure out an average speed of what an R6 would do in second gear at 4,000 RPM. So
Oh, wow.
just random stuff. And it's all about those little nitty gritty facts that, especially coming from the racing background and knowing that, ABS on a motorcycle, like a modern motorcycle with ABS, if you're leaned over, is way more sensitive than if it's straight up and down. So trying to take those little things into account helps in situations like that where you're looking for those little baby details that could have saved a life or not. So
And is that you're usually representing, like, are you working for the insurance companies, or who are you?
I really work for whoever asked for help. My biggest thing, the reason why I created Code 3 consultations and all that fun stuff was because a friend of mine was in a car crash that ended up killing someone. And I feel that he was wrongly accused. He had all the blame put on him, even though he was totally sober and the other person was not. It's a long story, but long story short, that was my motivation to say, okay, well, stuff like this happens. Like, people get blamed for stuff that they didn't do all the time. So let me try and figure out how to help with that. And here we are.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do you just kind of started it from that, and then you just a website and people contact? How do you get into that? Like, I mean, obviously you said from your friend and things of that nature, but you didn't help with his specific case, right?
No.
Yeah. So
No,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
just more.
It was a thought that I had in the classroom of my apprenticeship. I was literally in class, and I was like, you know what? This sounds like a good idea. So I looked up Code 3 consultations if anybody else used it, and it was open. As far as being able to market the brand, it's a little bit niche. It's a little bit of a small market, so it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, I'm going to go get 30 clients tomorrow. I will say the reason why I created it is not necessarily what I do the most with the VIU. It's more development of safety systems, autonomous vehicle development, stuff like that. Obviously, the expert witness cases do come in every now and then, but definitely not as much as I originally thought. So I have a website, I have all that fun stuff. It just seems that finding that target audience is a little bit harder than I thought it would be.
Do you think it would be? Is it a common thing? Like, is there like like if you're like motorcycle stunt guys, like there's like a few.
Yeah.
Like once you kind of get in, like those are the guys.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely like that. As far as you just have to, people have to know your name. Not from anything else. It doesn't matter who you are outside of it, but people need to know your name with the company and what you're doing. So that's my biggest thing. That's why I'm trying to brand VIU everywhere I go, especially in racing, because it's you never know where you might be needed, and you never know where something might happen. So trying to make sure I have my name out there is huge.
Gotta get hooked up with Law Tigers.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that'd be a great little B2B. Let's go.
B2B marketing.
Let's make it happen.
10% off the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
For
man.
Jimmy over here, the sales guy.
Hey man, we're just dude ELE baby. You know what I mean? Everyone that loves everyone.
Do you get? There's one of the questions I had about firefighting, and this probably a little bit as well. Do you get a similar kind of a effect or feeling out of doing that stuff? Obviously, firefighting super adrenaline oriented, I'm sure, but even doing this stuff where you're like deeply invested personally, I assume once you take on something like that, it's like you want to get to the bottom of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you get a similar rush out of that stuff compared to motorcycle riding, or nothing compares?
It's hard to compare to motorcycle riding for sure. I would say I get a different kind of adrenaline rush. It's more kind of full circle to solving puzzles. I like to be able to figure out why something happened, and especially being able to figure out how something could have been prevented is what really makes me excited. It makes me enjoy what I do so much, because it's cool to find those little things that other people can't. I'm not saying that they can't, but they just don't have the knowledge or the experience to see those little things. And again, coming from the racing background, just knowing some of those little details, ABS, traction control, brake pad wear is a good one. Having a new set of brake pads is totally different ball game than having a 3-day-old set of brake pads, and not a lot of people know that.
3-day-old?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Even
And
on a street bike,
even on a street bike.
just like stopping power wise.
Yep, and it's pretty crazy that 4 feet makes a difference between living and not, but that's still
Yeah.
4 feet.
Yeah, in those
Wow.
cases.
Yep,
3 days.
yep. So just little things like that. It all adds up, and that's why I love it so much. It's cool to find things out like that.
Did obviously I know your fiance Amber's mom is like in a family kind of friend of mine for my grandfather, especially for a long time.
Yep.
She does like motorcycle instruction personally back home in New York. Is there any like relation to that in terms of did you even know Amber when you came up with this company?
I didn't. I might have known Amber. I think this was. Yeah, I think so. She's been a huge motivation for me to actually pursue it. With coaching consultations, at first it was a bit of an idea, and it was something that I was trying to make a reality, trying to make it happen, and then definitely Christine and Amber and everybody in that whole family helped me get that motivation to actually pursue it. And they've been helping me the whole time along the way. I've been super, super thankful for all their support, and it's cool whenever we have family dinners. That's like one of those things we try not to talk about, but as soon as someone mentions it, everybody like dives in about some of this stuff. It's actually really cool. And getting to know her mom, I met Amber and I got to know her and all that fun stuff, and then I found out who her mom was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then as soon as I actually kind of met everybody, and I was like, "You guys ride motorcycles, really? You guys like motorcycles?" And dude, it's been a dream come true.
How did you meet her if you didn't know that they were into bikes?
It just kind of random, like the universe just gifted her to me, just random by chance, I guess is the best way to say it. Yeah, I was just scrolling through Instagram and I just saw her pop up and I'm like, wow, she's pretty cool. She rides bikes. And
slid in the DMs, didn't you?
Yeah.
You dog.
Yeah. And then she came out to California like a month later ish. And then as soon as we hung out, it was one of those things. I was like, man, this would be really cool. And so I was supposed to ride at Daytona in 2020 and do the 200. And the team I was going to ride with backed out like the day before. So I was already in Daytona. And then I was like, oh, I'm close enough to New York to see if she can come out. And we hung out in Daytona, and that was that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I always wondered because, I mean, she's from not super far from where I live now even, I think.
Yeah.
Because Christine's in like Poughkeepsie.
Not super far.
Yeah. I think I live like 30 minutes from her, not even.
Oh, yeah, right on.
Yeah, super close. So that's why I was like, it had to have been at the track or like something relative. But so it's kind of funny that it's not at all whatsoever.
Yeah. It is. That's hilarious.
But yeah, like Christine has her like business cards in our dealership.
Yeah, right on.
For her coaching stuff. So
yeah, it's cool.
Obviously you've ridden a lot of bikes over the years. Is there a particular like bike that sticks out to you that you really enjoy?
Honestly, the Multistrada.
What?
Dude, I freaking love the Multistrada.
No
It's so much fun. I love dual sport bikes. They're so much fun.
That's fair. I mean, it is a sick bike. It's
Yeah.
not what I was expecting you to say.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of really cool bikes. Obviously, the BMW M1000 was a bunch of fun to ride. Being able to get to know it personally was also a really cool experience. Being able to come at something that I had absolutely zero experience with, zero knowledge, and then by the end of the year, trying to build somewhat of a package was really cool. Riding the Hondas, I was a Honda boy forever.
Yeah,
and
you kind of like saved. I mean, like you were the only one for a long time in America, even
dude,
like thinking about it.
Yeah, I tried. I tried so hard to get Honda to come back with a program, and it just doors shut in your face every day. But that's the whole other story.
It's crazy that it ended up like as soon as you switched off,
I
they
know,
finally
dude.
showed up.
I know, a little butthurt about that, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many bikes. It's hard for me to say what's my favorite, but I'll definitely say that the dual sport bikes in general, the Multistrada is a bunch of fun. I'm not a huge fan of some of the other like super big, huge displacement dual sport bikes, but the Tenier 700 is also a bunch of fun and just random.
I thought you were talking about a bagger for a second. I was like, dude, what are you doing over
I think
here?
they're actually a bunch of fun.
CVO.
Yeah.
I know. Would you ever ride a bagger?
Hell yeah, dude. That'd be super cool. I might be on one.
There's a rumor.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor too.
Yeah,
actually.
there was a
Going
rumor.
around.
Yeah, we'll see.
Damn.
We'll see. I'm excited.
Now, what about series-wise? I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but I just had some things that I wanted to touch on. You've raced in a lot of series, obviously, France, BSB, Spain, CEV. Did you ever do an actual Moto2? You didn't get to do an actual Moto2 wildcard.
Not World Championship. No.
Was that always the goal riding for AGR?
Yeah.
Was just to get a wild card?
Yeah.
Because they had the team,
They
right?
did. Yeah.
At
with
the time.
Axel and Jonas Folger. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That definitely was the goal. But my biggest thing and the team's biggest thing was we don't want to go there and be last.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go there and suck. It's not going to help anybody else. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be ready and that I'd have the right package to actually do it. And between everybody involved, we just decided that the amount of money that it would take and the skill that I had at the time just wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. But my biggest thing was the World Superbike wildcards I did in 2021. Granted, it cost me an arm and a leg. Dude, it was so worth it.
What bike was that?
Yeah.
It was a ZX10.
I don't remember this.
Petruccini.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
bike was pretty good.
It was fun, dude. It was one of those bikes. It was the oldest bike on the grid, but it was still a really cool motorcycle. And it was the first time I'd ever ridden with Morelli Electronics. So, dude, just trying to get my brain to switch around, like, there was no throttle modulation. It was literally, you see your exit, full throttle. And trying to figure out how to ride that thing, dude, the first race weekend, I was just so lost. And I think I was dead last by like 2 seconds. It sucked. And then the next race weekend, going out there and being able to beat my teammate and not be dead last and start making progress was super cool. And it was one of those opportunities that I would take again if it ever presented itself. And man, it was so much fun.
What would you said the Magnetti stuff being like that? How would you compare that and 20? That was like the 19 to 21 version of the Cowie, right?
Yep.
Compared to the BMW, how far apart would you say those are?
I would say it's just a different ball game. It's a little bit hard for me to compare the Motec electronics that we had in our BMW this year to the full World Superbike spec Morelli system. Was more of a, you have to ride the Beamer more of a street bike. You know, you have to be a little bit more careful with the throttle. You don't have all the sectoring and stuff like that. You can't break every single corner down as much as you could on the Superbike. But I would say the biggest thing that I find is similar is the way that the power is delivered. Whether it was with the Superbike or whether it was with the BMW, whether it's with the Yamaha, at the end of the day, if you can get the bike to hook up and get traction, it drives the same as any other bike. So being able to really focus on, that's my goal at the end of the day, whether I have to do it with my wrist or whether I can just pin the throttle, as long as I can get that thing hooked up and starting to drive, that's all that really matters. So.
Where I was going with that one was previous question. Which series did you like enjoy or think the most of? Obviously, not even coming back to MotoAmerica.
This is like a fire question, dude.
No, that's good. I love MotoAmerica because it's my home championship. It's a US based championship that I don't have to get a visa to go do, which I take for granted probably, but I think is really cool. Going over to Europe, BSB was next level as far as the support from the fan base that they have. It's gnarly. I'm sure you got a lot of that, dude.
It's still that my whole Facebook is always, when you coming back.
Yeah. BSB was no joke. French Superbike was a little bit more of a like secluded professional series, but kind of club level ran, not to diss FSBK. I'm sure they're doing great right now. CEV was way more professional than any other championship I'd been in at the time. I hadn't really done much time in the AMA back when it was like the Daytona Sport Bike, all that stuff, Super Sport. But yeah, CEV was basically going to a world championship race minus some of the hospitalities. Like there were world championship teams there. There were big people there. Like you had to be the best and you had to be professional. And that was a big eye-opening experience. I think me right now, I'm trying to take some of that professionalism back into what I do now, whether it's with club racing or whether it's with MotoAmerica stuff, trying to take that same mentality of like, we need to be the best. And maybe you don't always have to be the best on the track you want to be, but that's just not always reality, but looking the part, you know what I mean? Trying to make sure that you have a good program. And even if it's not a factory rig, but like it looks nice, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's what I try and take back. So I love MotoAmerica. I love being here, and I just try and use all the experience and make everything better.
Did you have a lot of confidence when you came back from Europe? I feel like a lot of times when riders go over there and experience that like level, like you kind of come back here and I don't want to say like, you know, like you're a big fish in a smaller pond when you come from like CEV, for example, but I would think that it has to have like a little bit of, you know, like I've been riding around these guys who are world championship level guys, and you come back to America. Did you feel that way? Yeah,
I would say I definitely had a little bit of a different mentality of how to ride the motorcycle. It's kind of bit me in the butt a few times as far as especially over in Europe, dude. CEV was a good one in Moto 2 where it is cutthroat. And I've really tried to wean it back and be a little bit more respectful. And I apologize to all the people out there that I've rubbed wrong. But yeah, it's they will go for your neck if you give them the chance. So definitely when I first came back, I was getting in trouble a lot because I was going for the neck, and I've had to kind of chill that out a little bit. But I would say just the level of riding is getting better everywhere around the world. And just at the time when I was over in Europe, it really showed me how slow I was. So trying to take that speed, whether it's on or off the track, and use it everywhere else was it was a big confidence boost, that's for sure.
No, yeah. I mean, when I did that one Moto2 wildcard, it was like at a pit lane.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And BSB, I mean, it's just a different, I don't even know what it is. It's not like it's just everybody is on the limit at all times. And if you're in the way, you're in the fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what. And there's no, like, I don't know. I still think MotoAmerica is changing now because there's so many fast dudes. Yeah. But, like, it used to be, like, get out and you, like, settle in, cruise around. In BSB, from what I remember, it's you either going for it and catching the guy in front of you, or you're fucking getting caught. Like, there is no, like, managing. There's just one or the other.
Yeah.
Not, like, settling in.
No, and there's just, like, always, from 1 to 18, somebody's out for your fucking blood.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's like last lap, there's, like, you could go from, like, 5th to 10th.
Yeah.
Because there's just guys just, like, hungry.
Yeah. But the thing that blew my mind, the first time I ever went to Europe was actually due to the Rookies Cup tryouts back in 2012.
Oh, yeah, I did see this.
Yeah. That was a long time
Fucking
ago.
everybody, dude.
Yeah.
Did you make it?
No, I was way too tall, dude. I think at the time I was probably like 5'10", and the kids that got in were like 5'3". Yeah.
Just looking at the front wheel sitting on it.
Dude, yeah, it was bad. But I remember doing all the practice sessions and stuff, and you're paired with just random people from all over. And we're going into turn 1 at, I think it was Monte Blanco track in Spain. And, I'm online, and I see these 3 kids come from nowhere, like way behind me, and they're so far offline with their elbow on the ground, still trying to make it. And I'm like, dude, you're gone. Like, it's gone. The corner's back there. And then they all crash. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we thought we could make it. We weren't going to give up. And I was like, you know what? Hey, fair enough. Like, props for not giving up. But sometimes you got to realize that it's a little bit too far gone. But yeah, just exactly like you're saying, that mentality of like they're out for whatever it might be. And if you're in the way, you're in the way. So that's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it has gotten a little bit. I mean, super sport this year, the top few guys, there's some heated exchanges.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
This year in super stock, it seemed like for you that I don't know if you just got on better with the bike as the year went on, but just riding with you, like even out here last year, Chuckwalla, watching you over the course of the year on the BMW and racing against Hayden, it just seemed like you kind of got like more confident in yourself watching you go out and ride, and just like the overall race pace, but qualifying pace, like everything just started to kind of come together. Was it what do you equate that to?
Honestly, man, just time on the bike, being able to spend laps. Working with Orange Cat this year was really cool because we had a lot of testing. We had opportunities to test the bike, and we had opportunities to just try random setups, which in the past is not something I've had the luxury to do. And it was cool to be able to go out with a plan every time. And even at race weekends, like at Jersey, when the weather was pretty gnarly for everybody, we never went out with a bike that was the same. We're always trying something different, even if it was small, just trying to find that little bit of extra. And I think being able to work with a crew, even same thing now down at CVMA with the CW Moto crew, we're always trying new things. So having that confidence of not being stagnant, I guess is the best way to say it. Like not being okay with just, oh, we're here, this is cool. But being able to have that support has been really cool.
Do you think as well being able to show up and just ride
helps?
Is something that helped out a little bit?
It's the first year you've been
because
able to do
you've
that in a
been
while, right?
you've been kind of a privateer-ish for.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you ate like all the stuff in Europe you weren't, but you've kind of working so many jobs and this, that, and the other. Now it's more you can show up at least on the track. And
yeah, it definitely helps being able to focus on the riding and really focus on that and not have to worry about anything else is huge. That helped a lot. And again, I attribute a bunch of that to everybody involved, whether it's Orange Cat, CW, all that fun stuff. It's a team effort, and it's the same thing for you guys. I mean, it takes a village. I would say the biggest thing that I've learned that I feel has helped my confidence was more not being afraid to just try different stuff. And again, I know I've said it a few times, but man, it's like the first time I rode the BMW at Barber, I think I was like 7th or 8th. Like I sucked. I just couldn't figure it out. And then we did some testing and I realized that, hey, you just have to manhandle this thing. And as soon as I kind of realized that, that's when we started to kind of make rounds. And that's when we started getting up there with Hayden and all that fun stuff. And I think it also helped for me coming back to tracks I knew, like the Ridge and Laguna. I know very well. I've ridden that a lot. So being able to take a track that I know very well, that I kind of know where to make time, and then the rest of it is just working on the bike, not having to do both was huge.
Is it hard for you having, obviously, firefighting, the electrician thing, your other company, is it having basically 3 jobs of some sort as well as racing, which should be a full-time job in itself?
Yeah.
Is that, do you think that it helps or hurts you to kind of have things that, like, when you go home you have something else to think about, or does it make it more challenging?
I would say I'm lucky that the position I've put myself in, whether it's with electrical, firefighting, or with my own company, I'm able to kind of modulate hours. I'm able to say, okay, this week I'm really focusing on my company. This week I'm really focusing on electrical. This week I'm really focusing on the fire department. During the racing season, I kind of put everything on hold. So basically from like mid-January, February up until about October, it's racing. And I've been lucky enough to have the support from other people to allow me to do that. But that's my life. That's everything I'm doing is racing. After October into, January again, it kind of becomes other things. But
So when you say that, like racing, training, like just riding bikes, like the typical professional racer?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
training.
And then when you shut that off in October, are you buried with work all the time? So like,
Yeah.
what do you do? How do you stay fit for the following year? And I mean, if you don't get to ride, say with the same team, like how are you juggling those things? Like, I mean, everything you're saying sounds cool, but everything sounds like there's a lot of work to do.
There's a lot of wheels in motion all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's just how I thrive as an individual. I don't like being bored. I always got to have something going on. I think my way of training might not necessarily always be on a race bike, but I try and always be on a motorcycle, whether it's doing testing and development, whether it's with coaching, whether it's with racing here. I'm trying to always be relevant on a motorcycle, staying fit, staying healthy, and just kind of keeping the skills sharp. Other ways, you guys know it's hard to train when you're traveling. It's hard to be the most healthy when you're traveling, but I try at least to always make sure I stay somewhere at the gym, all that fun stuff. And I'm a big... I like running. I like running. I like to go on morning jogs and stuff like that.
What's your 5K looking like?
It really depends on where I'm at.
Hey, talk to me.
I would say like 17:30.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's fun.
You running the Alpha Flies or what, dude?
I just run whatever I got, dude.
Yeah, same dude.
James has been running for about a week. He's got 6 pairs of shoes.
There you go.
Dude, you got to rotate.
You should have seen this guy the other day. He's got like the shorts that have like the slits in the side that just like flop in the wind when you're running.
No, dude, I just bought an Aero running suit for my marathon.
Dude.
Yeah.
You have the sweatback sunglasses and everything too?
Oh, have you not seen me, dude? Are you kidding me, bro? Like fucking out
It's
there.
got the outfit for everything.
Dude, that's so sick.
Well, our next segment is you also recharge your batteries. Obviously, sounds like by the sounds of it, you got a lot of different things on your plate. But what do you do outside of firefighting, electrician work, taking cases, and then obviously racing as well? Do you have like other outlets or things that you do to recharge the batteries?
Honestly, man, as cheesy it might sound, just hanging out with my lady, hanging out with her family, hanging out with my family, hanging out with my dog. Getting our little puppy, his name is Benny. He's been a huge, just like ray of sunshine in our life. He's definitely the one that recharges my battery. Is our little family, and it's been really cool, and it's so nice to have a supportive background with everybody, whether it's my family, her family, all that fun stuff. It's been really cool, and I'm super lucky. And
What kind of dog?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Honestly, I'm not gonna yeah, he's a little bit Jack Russell. He's a little bit wiener dog, and he's a little bit like, kind of like golden retriever a little bit. He's got like longer curly hair. Yeah, he's probably however that long is.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell myself short right now.
Story of my life.
The problem is like when he was a pup, he was like short, and then he started growing lengthwise, and I was like, he's gonna be a wiener dog. Yes. I don't know why I like wiener dogs.
Yeah.
And then he stopped growing lengthwise. He started growing up, and I was like, no. But yeah, he's a super funny dude. He's just freaking hilarious, man.
What's his name?
Benny?
Benny.
and the
Benny
Jets.
fucking Hana.
Is that working? Benny and the Jets?
Yeah, Benny
That's
and
what
the
we got.
Jets. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Well, that's our Yuasa Battery Recharges Batteries segment. Yuasa Battery setting the standard for power sports batteries since 1979. Each and every day starts with Yuasa Batteries. Visit yuasabatteries.com to find the battery for your machine or to find your local Yuasa Battery retailer.
For people that are not watching live, Jason continues to throw up the rocks.
That's my go-to, man.
It's going to start dabbing next.
I can't do the shocker anymore. So.
What's the shocker?
We can break it down right now.
Oh,
So
man.
you said though, like, just catching on. You said you have a brother.
Yeah. So I actually have I have two older brothers. I'm the baby,
Oh,
and
wow.
one of them is up in Seattle. One of them is over in Spain still, and then I'm here.
And you say one of them is very good at riding bikes, or are they both?
Yeah. We all used to ride. My eldest brother rode for a little bit, and then decided it wasn't for him, and then he went off and got super smart and learned like 7 different languages and all that fun stuff. And then he works with the DMV as a translator, so he makes like ridiculous money working at the DMV. I don't know how. Anyway, and then my middle brother, his name is Hunter. He's over in Spain. He's not racing anymore, I don't think. The last time I actually saw him was 2019, so it's been a little bit since I've seen him. But he's living in Barcelona, working for Discovery and Discovery Channel, and here we are.
Did he follow you over there?
He actually went over to Spain first. Like the first time I ever went to Spain, I hung out with him and I stayed with him. And then that was all before I got my own spot. And then once I got my own apartment, we were kind of in the same neighborhood. And that's kind of how we got to know each other a little bit better, as not just living together, but I guess working together. We actually both rode for AGR at one point.
You and your
What?
brother.
Yep.
Wait,
Yeah.
I didn't even know you had a brother. What's
Yeah.
his name? Hunter Uribe?
Hunter Sue is his last
Oh,
name.
okay.
Yeah.
There.
He was technically an exchange student that we adopted.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a super funny guy. He's actually almost legally blind,
what?
but he can actually ride really fast.
That sounds scary.
It's actually pretty cool to watch, dude. He can ride.
Like,
That is like a.
one eye.
Yeah, he can.
No, he's just got a big Fig Newtons thing. That's
So,
nuts.
He was a foreign. So you gotta break that one down a
Yeah,
little
dude.
bit.
Yeah.
Unpack that so much.
Yeah. So when I was still in normal high school, quote unquote, he came over as part of the exchange program for our high school, and the original family that he was going to stay with backed out last second. And so we're like, oh well, we have an extra room, like might as well, here you go. And so we met him, he met us. He was super funny, and then he was like, yeah, I used to race scooters in China all the time. And we're like, really?
In China.
Yeah, he's from
Is he-
China.
Oh,
He's
Yeah.
from China?
Yeah, he's Chinese.
Oh.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I used to race all these scooters, and like my friends used to be in like the mob, and like they'd always do stuff, and he'd have to like
What?
ride super fast and stuff like that. And so we're like, oh, ride a dirt bike. And then he hopped on a supermoto bike on a Steer F250 and actually was like super fast. And so he got a CBR 250, grew out of that pretty quick, and then I got R6 that he kind of thrashed. But he ended up going over to Europe, or going to Spain, and then meeting with AGR, and then just one thing led to another, and he moved over there.
did he club race or just jumped right into?
He did a little bit of club racing.
What?
Yeah, maybe a year of club racing, and
How
then jumped over.
How the hell do you not do club racing and go to AGR and ride a Moto 2 bike?
He didn't ride the Moto 2.
Oh.
Yeah, he rode their Moto 3, their pre-Moto 3, and their Moto 3. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, he was cool. He has a lot of natural talent.
Wow.
That's insane.
So is that the case for both your brothers though?
My eldest brother only rode for a few days. No, my eldest brother, he's blood, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Not an exchange.
Yeah.
Not an exchange student
Foreign
from China.
exchange.
Yeah.
That's
Imagine.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hunter, what's his last name?
Sue.
Hunter Sue.
Yeah.
And then he
from
went,
China.
but now he's in Spain.
Now he's in Spain.
That
That's-
is.
He's got a
yeah.
good story. I
He's
bet,
like
huh?
a
I know.
TV star for Discovery Channel.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he works for Discovery. I don't know if it's Discovery Spain or Discovery China, but
He's an actor?
I don't know if I'd call him an actor. He's like a TV host.
Oh.
So he goes around all over the world hosting television shows and being like, oh, I'm in Australia. on a fishing boat doing deadliest catch type stuff. And
How the hell do you go from not even a club racer to
Dude.
riding for AGR to being a
Well, you forgot about the China to
Oh,
US
yeah,
exchange student part.
that part and
know.
being like
yeah,
That's
who is
insane.
this guy? This guy is the most interesting man.
The magic man.
I don't know how he's done it, honestly. I've asked him a few times how he got into the TV industry, and he won't tell me his secret. So
Oh,
maybe we'll
wow.
have better luck.
That's insane.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool though that you got. So
You got some. Did
Yeah.
he speak?
He knew all the swear words in English.
Oh wait,
Like
did
every single swear
wait?
word
So
he
he
had down
didn't.
pat.
His English wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't really good.
Oh,
It's gotten
no.
better. Obviously, it's gotten way better. But definitely, yeah, when he came over, he was like any single swear word you could possibly think of. That was like immediate answer to every question.
that's so funny.
It was awesome, dude. It was
Really?
so funny. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What,
dude.
so they speak Chinese. He's Chinese.
Yeah, he spoke it's Mandarin, right?
I don't know.
Mandarin over in
Yeah,
China.
Mandarin.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was. I don't know. I'm not gonna go there, dude.
Please don't.
I'm gonna
We're
go
gonna
there.
get canceled over
Dude,
here,
I know. I know.
if not already. Now, obviously, you spoke on like professionalism and that kind of thing, and when you had your Honda deal here, you know, it always looked really good and whatnot. What do you do in terms of sponsors? Obviously, you had to have a lot of personal backing to go do what you did in Europe, and then running your own deal here in the U.S. How did you go about that stuff? Was it like mostly based around personal connections, or just like geographically speaking, or like how did you seek out people?
I would say a lot of it was, pretty geographic as far as a friend of a friend, knowing somebody in the industry, being able to just make those connections face to face. Something that I've been working on a lot the last few years is reaching out to people that I don't know, reaching out to bigger companies, reaching out to just outsiders that might know nothing about the motorcycle industry, but think it's cool and want to get in something that sounds fun. So that's been the biggest thing that I've been trying to work on, is just expanding my horizons, I guess is the best way to say it. Easier said than done, but at the end of the day, without sponsors, nobody can do this. So
Yeah, for
trying to
sure.
make sure that we take care of the people that take care of us is another huge aspect of what I'm trying to do. And the same thing that you guys do. You guys know that better than anybody else. It all goes full circle.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure. I think, you know, marketability is probably just as important, if not more important, than results now.
Yeah,
like every
yeah.
year it gets less and less important to actually get results than it
Yeah.
does to do the other stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
What would you say would be, you know, one of your I don't know, biggest takeaways or potential advice to like somebody, the next generation of kids coming up in terms of that kind of stuff? Because I think that's like, you know, you see a lot of these younger kids now, and obviously everyone has Instagram, everyone has
Yeah.
social media, but I don't know that everyone really gets that side of it.
Yeah. I would say the biggest piece of advice that I was ever given is make yourself irreplaceable. Whether it's on the track, whether it's off the track, find something that you can do that nobody else can, or at least that you can do better, and make that your niche. You know, that's what you're going to go after, and that's what people will want you for. Just like what you guys were saying, it's almost more important to have that ability off the track versus, obviously you have to do decent, but you don't need to be, you know, smoking everybody by half a lap every single time. If you can't get in front of a camera and do an interview, you're SOL. So being able to have that knowledge, being able to have that skill set, and being able to get in front of a camera, get in front of a interviewee, interviewer, whoever it might be, and be able to actually, you know, have a conversation, I think is huge.
What would you say what do you lean on? Like, what's yours?
Oh man, I would say my niche would be the fire department. That's what I've been really pushing with my own sponsorship proposals, is being able to reach across multiple industries, whether it's with the motorsports stuff, automotive stuff, with my company, but mostly with the fire department, because at the end of the day, not to be boastful about it, not to brag about it, but people love firefighters. Even if
When
if
you're hot,
I'm
you're hot, you know what I mean?
yeah, if I'm not
Jayson
the
Uribe's calendar, firefighter calendar coming out.
Yeah.
Starring in the next episode of Rescue Me.
It's I might not be like the smoke jumper. I might not be the hotshot D1 guy, but it's trying to really leverage every aspect that you can, I think is huge. And I love the fire department. I love the camaraderie. I love the station I'm with. The people I've met has been life-changing, and I'm just trying to make sure I can present that to other people as well.
What do you feel like is like the biggest hurdle for you? You know, I obviously you've been around for like a really long time. And I think a lot of people know your name from, you know, maybe inside the paddock, but in terms of like bringing yourself to the forefront as like a personality, what do you feel like is like the biggest challenge as far as that goes? Obviously results always help because people want to root for a guy who's on the podium or whatever, which this year was big for you in that case. But is there things that you feel like are more difficult, or you feel like you have to try harder at in terms of getting to that point?
Yeah, I would say the thing I definitely have been working on a lot about improving in my own aspects, so to say, is trying to be funny. It might sound stupid, but just being able to be witty and have those sharp answers that might not always be politically correct. One of the things I hear a lot, whether it's from friends, family, fans, whoever, it gets to a point where you're so professional, where you're so like following the script that it gets boring and nobody really wants to care about it, if that makes sense. So being able to be professional and keep everybody happy, keep the big, you know, the money people happy, and be able to do your job, but still have a little bit of fun and make people like you, I think is something I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm on social media in some ways is, you know, not the best, but I think that is the one thing that is like a good part of it, is it's because if everyone was just like their professional self on social media, like there'd be nothing interesting going on. So
well, I was neck deep in your pigeon's tails.
We didn't even
cool.
talk about Freddie, dude.
Yeah,
dude. I didn't want to. It's been nuts, but it's been a whirlwind. We're going straight to the top of Instagram with Freddie, but I think that, you know, that for that reason, that if everyone was like politically correct or just, you know, professional all the time, there would be nothing to you know, gravitate towards. So it's enabled people to kind of be a little bit, you know, edgy on things, and because like, well, now it's like, oh, well, if that gets more attention, then who cares if it's not necessarily the best? Where like, it's not how it used to be. It used to be like when we were, you know, kids doing stuff with the National Guard. It was like, you gotta, if I remember posting a picture like a high school party and like a beer or something was in the background, and I was like, nope, I'll take that down.
It was gnarly, that whole time frame.
Yeah,
it was pretty.
Which
crazy.
I mean, now I feel like it'd be super stressful because, you know, still in that case you're representing the government, so it's a little bit of a different deal. But regardless, you know, I do think that, you know, guys like Heron and stuff who sometimes are on the, you know, further end of pushing that boundary just for, you know, for the benefits of it. But it is cool. It is cool to see that stuff. And growing up with him has always been kind of a pressure point, you know. He's Mr. Personality over here.
Yeah. I've just been stepped out of this conversation. That's probably like my quality.
Yeah,
you got it down pat.
Yeah, if I was like one of like a character on a video game, like personality would be 100.
Literally. Yeah. No, but I think it's been like, for me, you know, learning what your strengths are though too, I think is super important.
Yeah.
You know, I think like you said, like leaning into the firefighter thing, like, you know, maybe it's not necessarily a personal like attribute strength, but having that as like something that makes you different is a good thing. I know like what I've been able to kind of build or lean into, you know, has been helpful for me in like recent years, where, you know, James and his, you know, he's fucking could sell, you know, ice to somebody in the desert. Is that the line?
No.
Ice. What is it?
No, see what ice to the Eskimos.
Ice to the
It's the whole selling this pen kind of deal. Yeah.
It's literally him. You know, but yeah, you know, watching him have that ability from when we were young, you know, was always something that like aspired to, and I think coaching, you know, which we haven't even really gotten into yet, but coaching I think is big with that too, because it forces you to like, you have to like think about how to get people to, you know, energy is like a big part of coaching. So if you're like super introverted and stuff, it's hard. It's way harder than if you can like, and
especially if an introverted student. Then you guys are just like,
just sitting there quiet the whole time.
Yeah. So
you good?
Speaking on the coaching thing though, what do you do?
Well, maybe first we go in there. Like, you're funny, man.
What?
You're funny.
Me?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't know you yet. Like, I don't know if you are funny. I'm going back and I'm gonna look at all your interviews to see how witty we are.
Oh, dude, you'll find some weird stuff on YouTube. You'll find stuff when I was like 12 years old. Right, in Supermoto.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I also think like just jumping in on that, like being authentic.
Yeah.
Right. It's cool. Like, you know, like just being who yourself, right? Like if you're trying to be funny and you're trying to be funny, that's cool. But like if it's yourself, like, you know, there's so many people that I think try to, it's very, you see, like try to, like it's natural for me, right? But you can be funny even if you're not, like there's things that I wish I was better at, right? Which sometimes I wasn't, so everything's so laughy and jokey. But you know, like, so I think like being that authentic, I think we always kind of talk about it, especially with social media now. It's everybody's trying to be somebody, or you're trying to look, it looks like everybody, because it's everyone's highlight reel. Yeah. So you're just like, oh, dude, he's got everything. And you just don't know. You just don't know. That's why I think the podcast is so cool. Like, we get to really understand, like, the people behind the scenes and understand who you are, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you start to see through the bullshit. I mean, I think there's a lot of that, too. It's like, you know, you can try or act to be funny, but until you know, if you're trying too hard, you don't. It comes off. As whack, you can see through anything at this point. And I think also like the social media thing has gone so far at this point that people have also like gone the opposite way with it. You know, for a while it was like, how far could you take it this direction? Now people actually want to see more authentic stuff and whatnot. So, but I was leading into the coaching stuff. Do you coach with like the Champ School or somebody, or is it do you like? Is that another side hustle of yours?
I like coaching. I think the reason why I haven't pursued it very seriously is because I like it. And I noticed that as I've committed myself more to other aspects of my life, it's a job. You know what I mean? And I like to help people. I like to use the skills and the experience that I've learned over years and years and help others. And there's a few people that I will help every now and then, but it's definitely not, I'm not near as serious like as what you are. I'm just not on that level. I don't know if I could be. I like it. You know what I mean? And I want to make sure that I can stay in that kind of bubble. But at the end of the day, coaching is coaching, and as long as it's helping everybody involved and you're able to see the progression, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, I was curious about that because I know James in his background check said that you're into the coaching stuff, but
I think it's just wrapped in because you're like driving instructor too.
Yeah.
So
that's side hustle stuff. Driving instructor stuff is side hustle. Yeah.
What is that though? What's the deal with that?
So the driving side of it is like Skip Arbor, Allenberg Racing Schools, Ford Performance, stuff like that. That's just I stumbled into some really, really fast racing drivers at a super camp, at an American super camp years back, and they're like, "Hey, you should come drive." And I was like, "Okay." And I never knew that you can drive a Toyota Camry as fast as some of those guys do, but they freaking whip, dude. And just trying to learn how to really drive a car, obviously not just street stuff, but like really being able to push the limits of a car has been really cool, and it's something I've learned over the last like 6 years or so. And I've also learned that being in a roll cage scares me. Driving a car to that 98% is fun and awesome, but getting that last 2% when you're really going, I don't think I could do it.
I feel the same way actually. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like because you're in something and you're trapped, or if it's like sometimes I wonder if it's the speed, like because
you have so much more grip.
Well, no, not even that. Like for me, like when I'm in a car, like here, for example, in a car doing like 55s, is like
feels so fast.
Yeah, like it feels like everything because you have. I feel like it's because something is static, like right next to you. So like the motion is almost faster. I don't know, but if like I said, like doing like 55s here feels like doing like 30s on a bike. You know, is what I imagined it feeling like. Like that's the perception of it. Yeah, which I don't know if that goes away or not as you spend more and more time in a car. But
I've been doing it for a little while. Obviously not 20 years, but I will say I do a bunch of Formula car driving schools at Laguna. That's like I'm there monthly, which is a lot for me.
That's crazy.
I feel like you don't really post or share much about that stuff, though.
Not real. I on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. I try and keep it a little bit more on the DL.
Why is that?
Stuff.
You don't want people to show up and try to get into it, or what?
I guess it would be more. It's not something I'm trying to publicize. I'm not trying to actively get work from it, if that makes sense. Like I do it because it's something I like to do, and it's helping me get to the racetrack. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to commit myself to it. I don't want to overcommit myself to something because I posted about it, and then whoever is like, "Oh, you do car coaching? Can you come coach me at the track day?" I don't want to start that process, I guess is the best way to say it.
Damn, dude.
But it's cool. It's fun. But yeah, like exactly what you're saying, doing a 36 at Laguna on a bike is pretty mellow. Like you're not really going too crazy. Doing a 36 in the F2 car, gnarly.
I bet you
Gnarly.
there too. I would
Yeah.
be so scared fucking going through 6
Yeah.
in a car.
That's
It's
true,
pretty
yeah.
gnarly. Going down the corkscrew, you see zero. Obviously, it's pretty blind on a bike, but when you have a cockpit and a front wing right in front of you, there's like nothing. You can't see anything. It's crazy.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
an F2 is open?
Open
Or-
cockpit. Yeah,
oh.
open cockpit, open wheelbase, all that stuff.
That's like Skip Barber,
Yeah. Skip Barber and Ellenberg, yeah.
but you've never raced.
Not professionally. I've done club stuff, but not
You've done a
professionally.
club car race?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How do you get around like the aggressive part?
They're pretty freaking aggressive, dude.
What?
Yeah.
I thought-
those guys are pretty gnarly. You're rubbing the whole time.
What?
Oh yeah.
You
Like
can't pass. I mean, it's like
I know, but like, what are you rubbing on?
Bodywork, rims,
wheels and
tires.
stuff?
Yeah. It gets hard when you have those like blatant takeouts that like a T-bone. That stuff happens anywhere, but it's not really frowned upon. But same thing is like rubbing elbows going into the corner. It's just like you're just kind of bopping off of each other. It's pretty normal.
how come you haven't really like? I feel like if I got into that world because of the fact that there's just so much more money in it, like
Yeah.
it would be a lot easier to go down that road.
Yeah.
You haven't.
No, I get scared. Honestly, like if I was gonna go coach with Skip Barber full time in their racing series, I would like to know that I could do anything that they asked me to. And I feel like it's not necessarily a skill issue, but it's more I don't want to push a car that hard because I get scared. And I don't really have an excuse outside of it just makes me nervous, and I think I need more time in it. I need more time getting to know cars at that level, but at least right now I just get nervous.
Have you ever been scared on a bike?
Oh yeah. There's a few places I get scared. Going Portimao. That's a fun track. Yeah, but diving into turn 1, you like go down this pretty level straightaway, and then it drops, and then it kind of rises back up before you get to that first right-hander. And I lost the brake pads going into there one time. That was bad. Like you can see it go like shoo, scooting out of the freaking caliper, and then you go to get on the brakes and nothing happens, and that wall comes up really quick. That was probably the most scared I've ever been on a bike.
Okay, yeah, but like normally you're not scared on a bike is what I'm getting at. Like when you push your bikes to the limits, you're pretty
I'm confident.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a different thing.
Yeah. Just a
That's-
different level.
That's crazy
Yeah. I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to get better at it, but I still need some time.
with the car.
Yeah.
That's insane. How long have you been doing it?
About 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, about 6 years. And I've had some really good teachers, had some really, really good drivers show me how to do things and teach me how to do things. And I feel like it's not through a lack of application. Obviously, there's still more that I can do to get better. But I think it's just like a mental wall that I'm hitting right now, where you get to that last 2% where you're really going for those lap times. And I just, you know what I mean? I just kind of give it that little bit of a checkup. And that's not what you're going to do if you're going to be winning races in a car. So
What would you say like the level, like in terms of relatability to a bike? Like, is it something where you could just get in it and you're like to that 98% like pretty easily, or was it like difficult?
I would say it's way easier for someone to come from a motorcycle and go well in a car than vice versa.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed going from bikes to cars is brake application's pretty different, especially when you're driving a Formula car that has a bunch of downforce. You just the way that you apply the brakes, especially the way that you come off the brakes, you have to get off them pretty quickly, especially when you have a bunch of downforce because you need that roll speed.
Like no trail.
You'll get a little bit of trail, but definitely not, you're not having your finger on the lever with your knee on the ground. Basically, as soon as you start to think about turning in, you're starting to breathe off that lever, the brake pedal already. So it's just different applications, but basically, I mean, I did a Ford school like 2 days after the MotoAmerica round at Utah a couple years back, and it's basically the same brake markers and all that stuff. You just
Whoa.
apply them different.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about like in terms of pace, like a Laguna? Were you in the F2 car at Laguna, you said?
Yeah. The F2 car we had was a Tatis chassis, and it had a Mitsubishi Evo motor in it. So it wasn't a full-blown F2 car, so to say, but still it was pretty quick.
So what kind of pace is that?
That is, top drivers are doing like 135s, 134 high in a race pace. Yeah, but yeah, doing 136s there like I was, that was gnarly.
So is 2 seconds like is that big in that world, or is that like is the gaps like tight or pretty big?
I would say it's It's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to
Oh.
predict because certain tires, conditions, aero preferences, there's so many different variables that can add up to a second. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
I feel like it's easier in a car to go out and find a second than it would be on a motorcycle. And I don't know if that's just because there's so much more adjustment, there's so much more physical traction, mechanical grip, whatever it might be. I think it just comes down to at the end when you're at the top level, you're still going to be looking for those tenths, but I just think they're a little bit easier to come by.
Where the fuck do you pass?
You kind of have to make your own passes.
I was gonna say like maybe the corkscrew, the last corner.
Into
Yeah,
one,
Laguna's narrow.
Oh,
yeah,
into one.
into 2, 3. I've seen people pass into 4. Doesn't usually end well.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
How?
Yeah, I do. They run over the inside curb and then run off the track. It's pretty cool.
That's so crazy.
That's gotta be nuts though. Racing. I think that's gotta be crazy. I think the open wheel thing scares me more than the roll cage.
Yeah, just being able to reach out.
Yeah, and you're just like, ah.
I feel like that would be more comfortable than a car though.
Yeah.
Than like a closed cockpit. Do you
Yeah.
feel that way?
It is. Yes,
Like closer
because
to a bike.
you kind of have that wind flowing by your face. It's just a really tight cockpit. Like literally, your arms are like squished, and you can only move as much as the steering wheel goes, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you don't really have that freedom to kind of move.
Have you
around.
crashed one?
Maybe.
Oh, you have.
Not bad. I have put one into a wall, but it wasn't quite, catastrophic. It was just kind of like, it was actually coming out of turn 4.
Oh,
Lift off
wow.
oversteer. Yeah. I got a little excited on the entry and just breathed off the gas right at the apex, which was really bad to do in a downforce car, and just spun the thing all the way to the inside and smacked on the
Really?
inside wall. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I'm learning so much.
Did any of the car stuff as you started doing that like make you rethink things you're doing on the bike? Like did you take some of that or any of that and like try to maybe apply it to what you're doing on the bike?
I think there's a lot of little references that I apply for sure. Like at Laguna, because I'm there so much, there's little references like looking for certain wires on some of the banner signs, looking for certain signs in certain areas that I'd never noticed while I was riding. That I started to pick up from others when I was working at these driving schools. And I was like, that's a really good idea. And then I went back and did a track day on a bike like 2 weeks later. And I was like, wow, that works. That's crazy. And just stuff like that. I mean, most of the car coaching stuff I do is on the West Coast. So I haven't had the chance to go to a bunch of the East Coast tracks. But it's references and things like that have been pretty good.
One of our guys here, actually, Ollie, he does car stuff. I don't know if he does F2 or what he does, but he does some kind of, he's from up by you.
Oh, nice. There you go.
A little bit north of Santa Barbara, but he does a lot of the car stuff.
Yeah, right on.
No, that's really cool. I've also like often not wanted to because I don't know if I have a desire to get into cars, but just
think I
from
would.
the standpoint of like financially speaking,
I think I
don't
would.
know.
I think I would like to try it.
Do
but-
guys make like what level do you make money in car racing?
Never.
I think you can make money at any level, but you have to market yourself right. Kind of like what you guys were talking about earlier. You have to be the one that somebody is paying to have come show up and drive their car because they want you for skill, they want you for coaching, they want you for development. If you're just a guy that says, I want to drive, somebody's going to slap you with a huge bill and they're just going to make a bunch of money off you. But
Yeah.
if you can bring something to the table, I've seen people get paid $100,000 to drive a Miata.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like the gentleman racing thing is kind of a lot more of a thing, right? Like
Yeah.
the guys who are the ones
Yeah.
paying for everything to be
Yeah.
there, and then they want a guy like you to come and hang out and show them what's up.
Yep.
That's interesting. This is a whole different world, but I do think
I
some
mean,
of
it
it.
happens here.
No, it does. Yeah, that's
Down the road.
but I think it's interesting. Well, Jimmy, I mean, we're at the point, dude. It's getting late.
No, it is. Yeah, no. I definitely want to bring up one last thing is what do you think the most you brought it up, but like what kept you going through like the hardest points and I guess getting to the decision of taking the time off and then coming back? Like what got you through those moments and like how did you mentally
Keep going.
well, did you get through it? Like, did you ever get like depressed because you came from Europe, you came back, and then you decided to take a breather? Like, how did you get through that stuff? Was it tougher than?
Yes, it was hard. It definitely wasn't easy. And I remember when I was living over there full time, racing full time, I would look back at the racing I did in the States and I'd be like, if I'm gonna go do a wild card, it has to be at a professional series. Like it has to be on a good bike in a professional series, and I have to go win. And I took that years off of racing, and I realized, sometimes you don't have to be in front of a camera to have fun. And I think that was the biggest realization that I had during that time was I might not be racing a motorcycle full time, but I'm enjoying other things in life, and that brought me peace. But definitely, I always miss riding, and there's definitely days that were harder than others. But I think my biggest motivation was watching friends that I thought I was faster than do really well. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that where
That's really tough.
I've known Andrew Lee forever. Him and I grew up riding together, and watching him win those 2 championships in super stock, I was like, man, I should be there. You know what I mean? And that was really good motivation to get back up.
I think that motivated a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I know. That and like the Cowie contingency back then was really good. So it was like, you could piece together a few bucks to actually get there.
Yeah.
You could actually make a little bit of money. And
There you go.
yeah, I think now with the Honda, that's kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
So you think like advice to people maybe in the same situation is just relax, like do it for fun. Like, did you in Europe ever stop having fun?
Oh yeah. It was a job, that's for sure. Like there were expectations, there was pressure, you were there to win or get out. And it is what it is. Once you really get to a certain point in any occupation, whether it's with electrical, firefighting, whatever, I mean, you're expected to do your job. And I think if you can make it fun, make it something that you like doing, find your niche, whatever it might be, with coaching, racing, whatever, make it fun. That would be the biggest piece of advice that I would give. That's the biggest piece of advice I've ever gotten, is enjoy every second, because you never know when it could go away. So make it worth it.
I think that's amazing. That's something that I really envy from you is, you really enjoy it, but at the same time, like, I do this because I want to, kind of deal, where that's something that I struggle with the most is like, it's a job.
Yeah.
Right. And I've always struggle with that. So that's really cool to hear. And I hope people really take that on board. And as we get more and more into, I guess, racing in America, like the rides become less and less, like big paid rides are going further and further away. And, hopefully kids realize like, you got to have fun at this. Yeah. Like you get burnt out. I mean, you're still so young. You could still have a huge career in racing if you wanted, So
I'm riding this boat, man. I love riding. I love racing. I love the community, and as long as they'll have me, I'll be here.
I love that.
Do you have plans for next year yet? Obviously, you hinted at something with the bagger. We get the rumor mill going.
Yeah.
No way. Which side?
Third factory.
Which
Indian bike
side? Whoa. We'll see.
I know another guy that's like kind of from your area, right? Is O'Hara from your area?
Yeah. He's just down the road. Yeah, we'll see. I like Tyler. He's a super funny guy. But it's there's been some big talks between Harley and Indian and just figuring out what would make sense. Unfortunately, the guy that was spearheading that program just got cancer. So trying to kind of rebuild after that's been a little bit of a process, but he's getting better slowly but surely. So the bagger stuff might be a little bit later in the year than we expected, but we'll see. Anything's possible. And outside of that, I'd love to be back with Orange Cat. We're still working on some of the fine details as far as what that's going to look like for next year. But as soon as we have a bit of a concrete picture, that's my plan. That's where I'm going. And then if that doesn't work out, then I'm just trying to stay fit, stay healthy, and see what happens.
Yeah. So you want to stock 1,000 again? That's kind of your goal.
Our rough plan is to do stock 1,000 with some Superbike Cup stuff, and then the biggest thing that Andrew, the owner of Orange Cat, wanted was more development with BMW. So trying to go over to Europe and do some time with Alpha, do some time with BMW, and maybe do some wild cards over there. And
heck yeah,
that'd
be excited. Really cool.
Hell yeah. I hope it works out.
I think that's the one cool thing about BMW is like I think the only brand at the moment that has that kind of like network to where you can be like, I don't know, at least that's what I thought when I was riding one, was like, well, maybe I can push hard enough. I could maybe go to like ASBK or the Asian Superbike Championship or just like go somewhere else would be kind of cool and still be like the bike is the same kind of everywhere.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that's the coolest thing is like an Alpha bike. It's one of the only brands that all their pieces work.
Yeah.
Right? Like they develop it, they continue to develop. It's not like, oh, you need to have a FTR swing arm
Yeah.
or a Kalex, like or
Yeah,
whatever. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
what
You
you
got to
mean,
run, this certain electronic piece or whatever. So like that seems pretty cool. But dude, I wish you the best. But have you listened to our pod before?
Oh yeah, I love
All the way.
You
it.
know,
All the way.
you know what's coming. Did you prepare for it or what?
Probably not as much as I should have.
All right, so you're on death row for. Why is he on death row? You've been like way too nice. Maybe for
Something. There's
Yeah.
got to be something
Who'd
under
you
there. Maybe
fucking-
he just snaps one day.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're on death row for absolutely just cleaning people out on the racetrack.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hopefully
Yeah.
not tomorrow.
Yeah, I try not to. There's some people out there. I can think of, but no, it's
I gotta wonder, what did you think about? And I hate to bring this up, but I have to. Last corner, Jersey, fucking hate. Dude, I can't believe I forgot about that. Gnarliest pass I've ever seen.
yeah, dude.
It sucks to be on the receiving end of that, but dude, I didn't think you were gonna claw back that fucking time. You
Yeah.
did, and I mean, it was a great race, but like, did you even remotely fucking expect it?
No,
You
because
thought it
there
was
was
done.
that water
I
line going
know.
through there. As soon as I saw that I came out of, I think it's like 10, that long left-hander, I was like, I'm good. I got it. We're good. And then I actually checked up a little bit going into that corner trying to get a better drive. And then as soon as I didn't even see his body. I just saw his rear wheel, like right here. I was like, Jesus. And I checked up and that was it. But I talked to him after the race. I was like, dude, you have the biggest set of balls I've ever seen, dude. That was a gnarly pass. But yeah, it was cool watching it from cameras from that perspective, and then knowing what it was like right there. It was a good pass. I give him props, but man, that was gnarly.
It's
Yeah.
fucking gnarly.
Gnarly.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, that's like a commitment on a track day when you're passing
Yeah.
a slow guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
Dude. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
He drinks the water like
Yeah, Super Stock
throws it
1000.
back.
It's a tough racket.
Yeah, man.
Well, sorry, man, to bring that up, but I just was like,
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Just had to rub it in your face.
no,
I get it.
dude, everybody can talk shit after this weekend. So you're on death row for fucking cleaning some people out. Like, what's your death row meal?
Oh man, lobster bisque,
From Red Lobster or what?
Stop.
dude. Lobster bisque from a hotel in L.A. I
What?
don't remember the name. It's in City of Industry. It's where we used to go for American Super Camp all the time, and we'd all stay as like this big group, and we'd go down to their freaking bar. We get lobster bisque, and we'd wreck the bar. But I don't know what about that lobster bisque was so good this far.
That's it?
Maybe some Cheetos.
Wait, that's it?
I think that sounds pretty good to me.
On
Sounds like
death
a good
row?
meal. Yeah, it sounds like a good last meal. I'm down. I mean, steak is good too, but lobster bisque is hard to beat.
What are you drinking?
Depends who's listening. Nah, I would say
It's 2024, dude.
a clean gin and tonic. It's hard to beat.
What's
nice
a
little
what's
gin.
a dirty
G&T?
versus a clean?
Just high quality gin and some nice tonic water. No Aperol, no lemon, no little spritzy doos. Just
Dude, you're a
Easy peasy.
hard motherfucker.
I like gin and tonics, dude. Old fashions are good too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jimmy's trying to wean himself into him.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't like him, but he's getting there.
They're just a bit fucking.
Is it just the whiskey or what?
Yeah.
He's got to get a little more hair on his chest, you know?
Yeah.
Is
Dude.
it? Have you just tried Jack Daniels or anything else?
No, I mean,
No,
I've
we
only
give him the good stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
the
yeah.
one you did, the Japanese whiskey, that one was good.
But yeah, Japanese whiskey's really smooth though.
Yeah, that's what I need. I'll just we'd buy the best.
He
Let's get
also
it to-
would if he could, he would put just like a half a gallon of maple syrup in that
Yeah,
thing,
there you
too.
go.
You gotta just like, come on, man. You put it in, you wean it off. I'm fucking there with the homies. I'm shaking the glass.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Got the big
Letting
rock
that
in
ice
there.
melt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Fun fact: I was actually a bartender for a little bit.
Really, dude. All right, man. All right, dude. Chill out. Like,
yeah, definitely not a good one, but yeah, it was
Really?
Where at?
in Spain.
what?
Trying to make money under the table. Yeah,
That's sick. What kind of bar?
yeah. It was at a club.
Strip club?
Pacha pacha.
It was at a club. Yeah, just
Yeah.
mixing drinks, and people were already so messed up. They didn't matter if it was good or bad. So
Yeah, club vibe, Red Bull vodka probably.
there you
Do
go.
they don't tip though, so right?
No, I mean I just got paid cash, so it didn't really matter if I was getting tipped or not. It was whatever the owner wanted to pay me.
Dude, that's
Gotta do what
so
you gotta do.
interesting.
Gotta
So
do what you gotta
G&T lobster bisque, some Cheetos, no dessert.
Homemade brownies.
Nice.
I like brownies.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
Go for a brownie right now.
Oh,
Dude,
dude, I
same.
know.
Yeah.
Dude, Jason, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, and good
you,
luck
guys.
with your endeavors.
Yeah, same for you guys.
It's been awesome having you on. Hopefully everyone can understand a little bit more about you and the 1,000 jobs that you've done. You're like Mike Rowe of our fucking series, but
This is the guy from Dirty Jobs.
yeah.
Thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
No worries. But seriously, man, thank you for coming on, and hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Buy our fucking merch, please.
Buy the merch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Defileodds.co, no M. Pipe Dreams merch on there. Let us know what we should do next. Jimmy's been wanting coffee cups for about a year. He just won't leave me alone about the fucking coffee cups. So if you guys would like some coffee cups, let us know.
Just,
Maybe we'll do some.
Yeah, coffee cups, mugs, or like, just let us know like what we should do. We're trying to figure out the next drop. Again, everything that comes through goes straight back into this pod, so we can do some bigger stuff. Whether we have to travel logistically and things of that nature, and not have to run the show at Chuckwalla or certain places. So we're always trying to improve this show. Please comment. We see it. We got Big Billy in the back end just
smashing videos out for it. Make sure you smash that like button, that subscribe button.
Hit that notification button.
Dude, Billy's gonna fucking hate
Oh,
us.
we'd also love if you subscribe to our newsletter. Just doing all the plugs.
Yeah, you gotta stop.
Yeah. All right, it's 10:15. We got to. We all got a race tomorrow. Jimmy's racing, so
Dude, I'm race 1 too. You're in race
I'm
1?
I'm in race
I don't know
one.
what race I'm
okay.
in.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, I'm in race 1 too.
I don't think I'm in race. Am I in race 1?
I don't know. It's my warm up for the shootout.
Oh, you got it.
I
Dude.
gotta find about 8
Is that
seconds.
is that Super Sport Open?
No, it's Super Sport Open.
Yeah, I think so.
Race
yeah.
1.
No, I'm not doing. I'm doing the one the end of the day.
Got
The
it.
10 one. Whatever one
What?
pays.
I might actually do that
The
race.
rider gear one.
Yeah.
Wait,
okay. Yeah.
Wait, there's one that pay?
Yeah, you get like $300, dude.
You guys are getting paid? No comment. Yeah.
James
backdoor
got so many
deal.
tires in the allotment. He's actually selling them at the back.
I would never do that. Shut up, Pirelli. All right, dude.
All
We
right,
gotta get
boys.
this done.
Thanks.
Thank you. See ya.